Oh, I should probably start the music for this as well. Here, let me find it. Gosh darn it.
Cool, and I'll keep an eye on the chat. Oh, look, watch now. There we are.
Guess. Hello.
Hello.
Listeners, watchers. Welcome to the live stream. We're getting something set up here, so just give us a quick minute, and we'll get this thing going. So we're gonna try out some new music today, and hopefully we don't get copyrighted.
New music. Coach B, are you making some beats for our Twitch stream?
No. Yeah, I would if I had the time. I would, but nah, not this time around. Just there. All right. Okay. All right. So, Cody, do you want to go over announcements while I change the title to the stream?
Yeah.
Again, real quick here.
All right. So, for those who have been following us on Twitch, you guys know Tuesday nights. That's when we try and do it. And last week we changed it up a little bit. I did a stream talking about Hayden Camp as well as Elijah Evans and Jacob Phelps, all in that Buena Vista squad. We're kind of back to the quarterbacks. I'll admit it's a lot of fun breaking down these quarterbacks with Coach V here. But, every Tuesday night, go ahead and follow us on Twitch so that you can watch our live stream here. Tonight we will be talking about Zjhonoah Trujillo and Blake Barnett, two of these class of 24 quarterbacks. Yep, that's right. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, we just wrapped up our Best of the Rest series. Mason, Austin, and I, on Monday, talked about the Best of the Rest tight ends. We were able to make a rubric between the two of us, him being more the lineman guy, me being the receiver guy, and the hybrid that the tight end position is. They required kind of a conjoint effort on that. So that was a lot of fun to build the rubric, watch through some of our old tight ends to kind of get a judgment of how that was going to go, and look at some of the other top tight ends in the state. That wrapped up our Best of the Rest series. And if you haven't, we went through every single position that we had a top 5 senior list for and did the Best of the Rest, which is the seniors that didn't quite make the top 5, but we're still in the conversation. And there are still plenty of players to talk about. If you want your film broken down like our Best of the Rest, or even some of our request episodes that are going to be coming out on Mondays and Wednesdays, please go to the link tree in any of our socials. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and go ahead and fill out that Google request form. I know some of my Team Full Gorilla guys from over the weekend filled out some responses as well, so I'm excited to watch some of their films. So that's going to be Mondays and Wednesdays. And very importantly, we are also covering women's flag football on the NAIA level with the KCAC conference as well as the Sun Conference. And that has been very exciting for us to kind of do power rankings on and watch the games. There was a couple of games on, that wasn't Saturday, wasn't it, Simon? It felt like Saturday.
What do you...
It was Saturday.
Yeah, this last weekend, yes.
Yeah, this last weekend. It didn't feel like a real Saturday for me. But anyways, there were some games on from Saturday that we're going to take into consideration when doing power rankings this next week. There is going to be at least one team who moves. Won't specify which direction, but there will be movement in our power rankings. And, there's still some to come. So we always look forward to those power rankings every week. Coach V has been doing a great job on our Friday prime slot of catching everyone up on women's flag football. So make sure to tune into that as, we start getting deeper and deeper into the season, and these wins and losses start mattering a lot as far as conference standings go, and what that national tournament will look like. I don't think I'm missing anything. This Twitch stream, if you aren't watching it live right now, you're probably listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, or we're posting our Twitch streams to YouTube as well. Also tune into our TikTok for more and more content. Did I miss anything?
Boom. No, hey, with women's flag football, we're also doing end of the year awards. Our hope is that we make it a big old thing. I put out a watch list of players to look out for. So if you're not familiar with women's flag football, the least you could do is look up these young athletes' names and follow them, because they are balling out. I'm talking Madison Carrera, Jasmine Roden, Kennedy Foster. We have a lot of great freshmen that are turning up as well. Caroline Simpson, shout out to St. Mary's. How come I can't think of any? Abby Horsberg from Zjhonoah, they're all doing great, and so we're gonna put out a watch list pretty much every week here, and we are gonna figure out a way to make this thing a little bit more official. Cody and I will obviously vote on it. Most likely that might be a live stream that we'll do those end of the year awards, just so we could have some fun with it and whatnot. We'll give away MVPs, Opoi, Depoy, Freshman of the Year, and so those will be our awards there. We'll probably also release an all Playmaker list, so there you go there. But on the awards, we're hoping to have you, the fans, vote on those, and then also we are hoping to have maybe a coach or a rep from each school, each of the NEIA schools, vote on some of these awards as well, so that we get we get some recognition from everyone around the country. But that is turning up as we are entering the second half of the season, and oh boy, at this point, I mean, there's like 5-ish teams that are battling for dominance right here. A couple of them taking a very good spot forward here, but that is exciting. So if you want to follow that, go for it. That is the future of football. So, I mean, you might as well. Why not? But yeah, no, I think that's it, Cody. Thank you for holding it down the last couple weeks. I felt like with the live stream.
Hey, Coach B, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I got faded up, got the beard fixed up so I don't look all raggedy. I feel like on every live stream we've done so far, I've looked raggedy. So
Makes me feel a little self-conscious here.
No, you look good. You look good. It's cleaned up. I had to pull out my best Sean McVay. I forgot the Cardinals coach, but his name, make sure I'm good. I'm good there. Yeah, Kingsbury. See, it's probably a problem when you don't know their names. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop into this live stream, man. We got 2 quarterbacks here. I'm gonna throw this out there right now. These 2 quarterbacks may be the first quarterbacks that we as a podcast, we as PMC fam, get to cover all 4 years of high school, because both of these guys started their freshman year, and so we followed them throughout all their freshman year. We followed them throughout all their sophomore year. Unless things change, we should follow them throughout their junior and senior seasons, and then maybe even college as well. And so there's a lot of good things to talk about here. With these 2 players, we're familiar with them. We've seen both of them throw this off season in 7-on-7 comp, so that's good as well. So we'll go off some of that. I don't think we have too much film. I know we have some from Zjhonoah from our Ducks tryouts. I don't know if I'm going to go dig through that and find it yet. And then Blake Barnett, we saw him, was it 2 weeks ago? Against the Ducks,
I think, with Warrior versus Ducks.
Mm-hmm. And so we got to see a lot of him just throwing the ball, which, as you'll find out later, is actually kind of a big deal. But before we hop in, last year we did do an episode with 2 of these players, and not just the 2 of these players, but we also included a handful of other guys on this list as well. The episode is Playmakers Corner, episode 26. We're talking about underclass quarterbacks, and this was actually a pretty stacked episode. Not only did we talk about Janelle Trujillo and Blake Barnett, but we also included Isaac Cisneros, which, Cody, you did a film breakdown of him 2 weeks ago on a live stream, so go check that out. He did his thing with Kennedy, put up massive numbers in his 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
This last year. In his 3rd year, 3rd year as a starter, too, by the way. And so he did his thing there. And then we also talked about Braden Dorman, who not just committed, but he committed to Arizona a couple weeks ago. So congrats to him. I know I think we've congratulated him in person as well, or at least y'all have. So there you go there. And so this was a pretty stacked episode. We had a lot of film breakdowns here, and it was a good deal. So go ahead and check it out. There's a lot of insight in this. And so we're kind of coming back to some of these players, and we're looking back at our old film breakdowns, and then we are also, going to break down their film from this last season as well. Dorman is probably the only guy we won't break down this year. I'm just going to be honest with you. There is no reason, really, to break it down. He will make our top 5 seed.
Talking about him in our top 5 seed.
Yeah, he will make our top 5 senior class quarterback list, and he will probably be top 3. And so we will do a breakdown of him then, because I'm sure that's something people want as well. But he is the real deal, though. So there you go. But let's kind of hop into this. Let's start with Zjhonoah here. Zjhonoah Trujillo, quarterback out of Greeley Central. Like we said, class of 2024, so he's a sophomore now, going to become a junior next year. Let's start with what we said. And so, Cody, I have a list of things that we talked about in that episode and some quotes here, and then I'll let you react to it. Sound good?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, so last year, Zjhonoah Trujillo listed at 5'11", 165. Let's start with strengths here. So, actually, no. Let's start with the areas of improvement because that's actually what we started with on the episode. And so, just in general, said needed to work on just getting stronger. Just needed to work on just getting stronger, improving his frame. I said he kind of throws his whole body into some throws downfield. That is an actual quote I said. And then, Cody, you said engaging your whole body is different from throwing your whole body. So, so there we go.
Kind of low-key shot putting the ball down the field. I remember watching that, so I'm eager to see the difference. He's a lot bigger now than 165, so I assume
absolutely
that with the change in size. But yeah, that I remember saying that actually and watching the film, being like, "Oh, bro."
Yeah. But it was fair. I think he would agree. It's not like he did. Obviously, he worked on it. So, he obviously felt like there's something he could work on. So there you go. And then I said he should scramble a little bit more, in my opinion. I felt like, there were times he was definitely a little conservative with the decision making. I wanted him to get back to his former glory. Well, I don't know about former glory, but get back to the way he played back when I first, discovered him back in middle school, seeing him do his thing, go undefeated with that tough Heath squad. That, in hindsight, just throwing this out there, they beat Fort Morgan, which obviously, if you followed Colorado football, they won state this last year. They beat Windsor. They beat, I'm sure, other Greeley teams as well. And so it's not like he hasn't played some of these tougher guys out here before starting as a high schooler. And so I said, I just want to see him improvise a little bit more. That's an actual quote. After that, we both said we'd like to see him hit the weight, or not the weight room, but yeah, the weight room. We said we would like to see him hit the film room and just read defenses better. We mentioned how he didn't seem as confident as we know he is. And so, film, that always helps you become more confident. Cody, you mentioned his footwork. You said he really needs to work on that. You said, word for word, his footwork is kind of all over the place. So, there you go. And agreed, it definitely needed a little bit of cleaning up. And then this isn't really an area of improvement. This is more of a note, but we said he didn't have the most film to work with, as he really only had 3 games his freshman year. 3 or 4. He was splitting snaps, so it felt like 3 games. And just throwing this out there, those games were against the state champs in Loveland, Windsor, and then Monarch, who had a good quarterback at the time, and then Skyline, who, we have both acknowledged were probably the biggest snub of the playoffs in that 2020 season. And so those were his 4 games. Other than that, Greeley Central, they had some COVID issues and stuff like that. And, we talked about how it would take a lot to change the culture of the program. And then, Cody, I have to throw this out there because we definitely laughed after you said this, which may or may not have been received well. But, Cody, you said this program is at rock bottom, and so go give it your all. And then right after that, you said, geez, I'm kind of going in on Greeley Central, even though I didn't mean to, but it's the truth. So anyways,
we're here to help people, and sometimes the best way you can help people is brutal honesty. And
yes.
I can say that this team, while it's maybe not reflected as in their records so much, their score margins were significantly better this year. They were way more competitive in more games.
Absolutely.
There was improvement from last season to this season. And, while that can be said for the Greeley Central program, I think that it goes without saying that it was very obvious for Zjhonoah as well.
Yes. So there you go. That's what we said about areas of improvements. Strengths, Cody, you said, this is your quote here, you said the ball gets down there regardless of how it looks. So there you go. So the arm power potential there excites me, is what you said. You also said you like how he could throw on the run. He does that really well, especially near the boundaries and whatnot. Like he makes a lot of nice throws close to the sideline and whatnot. Said he could squeeze it into a couple tight windows. We saw plenty of that. You love that he could throw those comeback routes consistently as a freshman. Looked like a go-to route there, which you absolutely love. And then this is more of a suggestion than anything, but you said Greeley Central should look into running a hurry up. Once they get into rhythm, he could definitely complete 8 passes in a row and get them going.
Well, that didn't happen, but
We will talk more about that. It'll show on the film. And then I honestly talked more about what I know about him. I said he's just a tougher kid. You know, the type of guy you want in a locker room, the type of guy you want at quarterback, the type of guy you want as a leader. He's that dude. You know, I did say this. This was my quote here, and I honestly still stand by it. Watched a lot of football this last season, so just keep that in mind. But I definitely stand by this when I said he's one of the toughest mentally football players that I've ever seen in my entire life. As in, you know, he's the comeback kid. He's the type of kid that, you know, you want the ball in his hands if you have to score a touchdown and win, because he'll find a way to get it done. You know, he's not easily rattled. And so altogether, just a great leader. If anybody could do it and turn around this Greeley Central program, it'd be him, you know. All that being said, Cody, what do you have to say about our breakdown of Zjhonoah here before we hop into the film and stats and all that?
Well, I think it was honest, and I think something that we took into consideration was also where this program was, and something that we'll continue to take into consideration with most quarterbacks. You know, it's hard to turn around a program, and these two quarterbacks that we're talking about tonight are in very different places program-wise. You have, you know, one of the most elite 3A programs of all time, who then transitioned to the 4A level and found immediate success, which is exciting and in part to their quarterback, obviously. More on that later. Versus Greeley Central, that they're fairly removed from the quote-unquote glory days, I guess, of Greeley Central football. I mean, they got outscored 195-32 his freshman year. I don't know what else to say. That's just kind of where it was at. And so, you know, looking at the ratio of which they were outscored, and then just looking that they weren't competitive his freshman year, to say the least. But his sophomore year, there are competitive games. There's games where they're in it and they can win the game. And, you know, it's just a couple of missed plays away from them increasing a bit dramatically here. And Simon, you mind if I kind of take this and transition into what the Greeley Central season kind of looked like before we jump into Zjhonoah's stats and whatnot?
Yeah, go for it. Talk about it.
So I was in Greeley during this 2020 season. Okay, you know, I was coaching at Greeley West and Greeley Central. Not two very different tales that 2020 season. Lots of struggling, lots of COVID issues, and, you know, just like disgruntlement, I'd say, within the programs. But, you know, this season, you could tell that they gave Zjhonoah a little bit more. They also had Chino there in the backfield. They had top 5, I think our number 1 rated senior guard, actually, in Leon Ramirez. So those
easily the number 1 guard. Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So those shots of talent went a long way. And you look at their very first game, it's at home, and it's to Niwot, and they lose 21-14. That's a very competitive game against a Niwot team that had a history of having quarterbacks, you know, kind of at their disposal, and, you know, being a competitive team in this northern area. Then, you know, they struggle against this Northridge team that was the cream of the crop when it came to Greeley. But then Mountain View, you know, 23-9, that's not that far of a game compared to how you were looking at them last year. Brighton, they're able to put up 16 points on them. I don't know if they would have put up any last year. They get a win this year, which improvement against my old squad there at Greeley West, 32-13. Snapped, I want to say it was like an 8-year streak or something like that of them losing to Greeley West, something to that nature. And, you know, then Skyline here, this is one of Zjhonoah's best games of the season against a very solid Skyline squad that did eventually make the playoffs. They only lost this game by 11 points, and I'd love to crack open this can of worms. We'll see Skyline highlights, but I was talking to Simon before the show about watching, you know, a specific game from each quarterback, and I think this Skyline one would be a great one because he performed magnificently, threw for over 300 yards in a shootout-style game against a very solid Skyline team. And, you know, this is the same Skyline team the previous year who smacked them up 41-12. So you can compare that improvement. Obviously, lots of players and lots of movement around, but you can compare that movement in some capacity. Then, struggle against a Longmont team who made the playoffs, won a game in the playoffs. Grand Junction Central, this is a game that they honestly could have won 25-20. That's a one-score game, which is all that you can ask for. This Loveland team, they held them to less points and they scored more points. That's all I'll dive into really about that. And then Monarch, only losing by 9, versus by like 30 something the previous year. So this is change in the most incremental way, which is as a football player who wants to compete, is the worst kind of change to deal with. But you can see so many improvements in Greeley Central's performance this year. While it does take a whole team, it does also take a quarterback to help you win games and to compete in games. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about their schedules and break that down a little bit and note that while 0-4 to 1-9 doesn't look like that big of a jump, it's a lot bigger than it looks. I think that's all I kind of have to say about the season. Simon, if you have anything else to chime in on that, go for it. But other than that, it's also a good time to maybe compare his stats from last year to this year.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to say about what you just said there. Look, they improved. They won a game, a big one, by the way, that literally shook the foundations of the Greeley West program to its core. So I'm just going to throw that out there. There are some things we know there. So that was a huge dub. We were present there. We got to meet Zjhonoah, Gino, Leon, all them boys. My guy Juan as well. Shout out to Coach Juan out there. And so that was a good time. And so that's a huge dub. Like you said, basically haven't beat West in over a decade, and even then, they beat West by 2 points about 10 years ago, and so this was actually the biggest margin of victory in over 10 years, and they played basically every year, since, because they're crosstown rivals, and so that's a big deal. They didn't just beat them by a couple of points; they blew them out. It was over by the fourth quarter, very much so, and so I gotta give them props for that. Definitely had a couple games here that you should have won here. That first one against Niwot, that was super promising and whatnot. Obviously, you have a couple versus Monarch, Grand Junction Central. As you get older as a quarterback, because you got to keep in mind this is his second year as a starter, his first full year starting. Because I don't know if you could really count that COVID year where he played 3 or 4 games. That's a pretty good job, for a Greeley Central program that we know is rebuilding. Let's just keep it real. So, yeah, not too much to say there. Improvement. We talked about how it's going to take a lot to change the culture. Can't just be Zjhonoah out here doing everything. We did recommend him also surrounding himself with players that want to succeed, that are success-minded. We mentioned Anthony Tocchini and his boys over there, and that's what he did. I feel like he really, took that to heart. And Leon Ramirez and Chino, those guys are great dudes. Honestly, great role models, and I couldn't think of anybody better, honestly, to have on your side and to learn from. Because they were both seniors and he was still an underclassman. And so those are big deals. And so I just want to shout out those guys over there and, what they did and accomplished as a program this season. Huge props to them. But go ahead and talk about his stats, obviously, from last year compared to this year. Look, it's going to be different because we're looking at 3 or 4 games from last year compared to a whole season this year, right?
Yeah. Well, it's reading between the numbers, right? Like you said, there are 3 games played, 296 yards, which he eclipsed that in a single performance this year. 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, right? Pretty straightforward. It's almost like a single game stats if he was throwing the ball a lot in this single game from last year, his freshman year. This year, first off, the positive TD to INT ratio, that's a big takeaway here. 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, jumped up to 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. This was in a suffocatingly run-heavy program. And they did have a big bad back over there in Chino. But, this is a running football team, so that is something to also keep in mind. Increased his yards per game by nearly 20. It's like a 16-yard jump, so that's pretty good. Increased his average yard per completion by 2 whole yards. that is money, honestly. And, it took a little dip in completion percentage, but given the sample size of the freshman year, I'm not putting as much stock into that. But the big thing is the improvement of the TD to INT ratio and the yards per completion. And he's doing it on the same amount of completions per game, mind you. So that just shows you that the workload per game is very similar as kind of what he was looking at his freshman year. So he's not doing it on a lot of attempts. And we've had some run-ins with quarterbacks who just don't get a lot of attempts. And it sucks, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But he did make the most out of his completions this year and his attempts. I mean, he only had 191 attempts on the year. That's really not all that much, especially when you consider that Chino by himself had 138 carries. So their total running attempts was 285. So they ran it 100 more times than they passed it, which is something interesting to just kind of keep in mind. And this wasn't a team that was playing with a lead a whole lot throughout the season. So there's that. Simon, what are your raw reactions to some of these fast stats flying at you?
Yeah, so near the end of the season, I definitely noticed this because we, do those weekly recaps and whatnot. They definitely looked like they passed more near the back end, so they trusted him more and they passed more. I know against Grand Junction Central, Monarch, I remember seeing a bit more pass attempts there, which, showed that they were trusting him a little bit more, or just, maybe they don't care and they're just trying to open it up, see what they have, And so, I mean, that happened, so I just want to acknowledge that. And then also with the interceptions, I mean, like you said, there are plenty of times they were not leading, this season. And so, there are moments where, you can get a bit reckless with the ball, like try to throw it up there and make something happen out of nothing. And so I'm sure there are some like Hail Mary type of picks or whatever that are like,
just trying to make a play.
Yeah, just like trying to get something going.
For quarterbacks who are competing for a state championship, that matters a lot more than a program that's plagued by margins. So.
Yes. So there you go. I mean, nothing else really to add on. Do you have anything else, Cody, or should we hop into this?
Let's watch the film.
I bet. So here we go. Sophomore year highlights. It says mid-season. I don't know what's up with that. We could always look at, we could always, look at some of these other games individually, like you said as well. But let's react to this, man. Let's react to this. So 0-0. Cody, are you ready?
I'm gonna do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, play.
Boom.
Ready?
No, I didn't click it.
Who thought we'd be here?
All right. 185. I could confirm, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he put on a lot of weight, which is what we kind of asked him to do.
Ooh,
oh, nice.
Way to step up, and good dot.
Yeah.
That was on the money,
that was
too.
Sweet. This receiver better take it to the house, or Cody Stauffer's going to have a heart attack. Ah, nice.
I don't know why you... Assuming the worst already.
Nice snap. All right, a little bit of a...
Hey,
okay.
Get out there. Is this against West? I see the gold helmets. Well, this could be anybody, honestly.
It could be Monarch, too.
Maybe. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, my gosh, the entire...
What happened? Okay. Here. Let's go back a little bit here. I don't know what... I'm at 43 seconds.
I think this is Brighton. You're at Well,
is this
I
Brighton?
paused at 45. I think it's Brighton. Red with the silver helmets.
It's a Grand Junction. Go ahead.
Or Grand Junction, essentially.
Yeah.
That's true. But I have it paused at 45, and there is 4 players in Zjhonoah's face. There are only 2 people blocking, and I think one of them is Leon.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is Leon right here. So, because he's in the interior.
He has 4 people in his face. Jesus. This is not a screenplay.
How many?
None of these routes
1,
are
2,
even
3,
developed
4, 5,
yet.
6. They're blitzing 6, and they picked up 2. Jesus.
Well, okay, that was disrespectful. I'm sorry.
No, but that's what's happening on the film. They're blitzing 6, and they picked up 2.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
What is happening?
Look at the routes. The routes are not developed, dude. Not to mention, there's like no separation happening here. I mean, you have this cornerback, the slot corner, who looks like he's going to fall. you know. But other than that, this is a bad look. Zjhonoah still somehow. Oh my gosh, I need to see how he throws this ball.
Yeah, me too. Okay, he sets and throws.
Yeah, he
This
sets
is classic.
throws,
A
and
little bit too wide of a base, but that's okay.
he did not have time to really.
That's
It's
on the
almost off
money.
his back foot, but his arm power here is very well displayed, and great play here.
A little bit of push off from the receiver, but screw it. You got to make a play.
I said great play here, by the way.
No, this is pretty
Okay,
good.
so this is exactly what we're talking about with what's happening.
Oh my god.
I told you that arm power had potential, and look at it right here. This is an absolute dime with pressure all up in his grill.
Yes, this is a almost effortless type of throw too, on the money as well. So
yeah,
good stuff. All right, I'm at 48
Let me get back
seconds.
Hey, whenever you're ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Good catch though. Good catch. Way to get separation as well.
Is this guy?
This is a cover one type of look. Oh, never mind. They rotated over.
Boom! Nice dot over the top.
Good timing.
All right, so this is the offense that they ran most of the year here.
Read option. Nice. Good decision.
Way to be aware of the defense there.
That's tough.
All right.
Ooh.
All right, hits this little out route. Ain't no problem with that. Oh, wow.
Is this Chino right here?
It might be Chino.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think he came from the running back spot.
I love these shotgun looks, though.
Yeah, so they like I said, they showed the potential to run this.
I love
Nice
this
little
QB power, too.
I mean, I like that they're running him because, I mean, it's not like he's not athletic at all. Yeah. So, get your yards, right? Good job going through the progressions.
That's a little inside.
Yeah.
Push it outside.
But that's all right.
All right, let's see how this throw on the run goes. Ooh. That's a nice throw. That's a sweet throw.
Yep.
All right, rolling out right. That was a rollout to the left, too.
Mm-hmm.
Directing traffic.
He's waiting for that. Nice! Oh, my God. Here, let's go back. Let's go back just a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm afraid that maybe the receiver didn't catch this.
Do you not think? I'm at 220 here. I'm just trying to see if he caught it or not, because it looked like it was on the money.
It was on the money at 222.
Okay. Well, I can't tell, to be honest with you.
Or it at least hits this receiver in the chest. This is not bad coverage, and this is a very arm power throw here.
Way to keep your eyes downfield.
He's on the run. Nobody, look at all these other pass catchers that are just blanketed. Like,
I mean, maybe you could hit this guy right here if you're on time, but you might need a set and throw and really rip that, to be honest. I mean, he has... Yeah. Well, okay, I don't know. He angled up all of a sudden. Not bad. I'm at 223, by the way.
Okay, hold up.
Cody. Okay. Bet. 3, 2, 1, go. This is against Greeley West.
So the other one's
little flea flicker.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Banger. This was a big play, too, in the game. He got hype. Feel that.
I think that might have been the dagger.
Yeah.
I remember correct.
Nice. That was a wheel route.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
backside, too.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Look at the immediate pressure again against Naiwat, I think. Oh,
did he
back in the pocket. Yep.
Yep. Nice.
I think there was a holding call on that, though, so I think it probably got kind of weird that he drifted back. I think he could have stepped up.
Oh, that was still on the money, though.
This is a nice throw.
Yeah.
This is a nice throw.
Oh, I think I see where he's going. Yep, there you go.
Nice.
These out routes.
A lot of these are one read. I will say that. Just a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah. But when you have the pressure, I mean, you got to hit the open.
Yeah.
Because you can't take the sack.
No, I'm not I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying for decision making in the future that reads matter
Loveland.
if you don't have time.
Not bad.
Okay.
1v1.
Okay. Roll out right. What a surprise. Oh, okay. That's a pretty nice throw.
Yeah.
I like that throw.
If he waited on it.
Watch that.
Yeah. I was about to say, if he waited a little bit on this, because he had a little bit of time, hold up, where is it?
Are you talking about this crossing route over the middle?
Wait, give me a marker to be at.
Where the D6 is, 359.
No, I'm looking at, so you have your guy on the right side. Oh, here, let me move it over on the screen here, just a little bit. Okay, so you have your receiver on the far right side. It's the second guy up here that's kind of by the logo.
I see what you're talking about. That's on the eye of the stadium.
And this safety is definitely not paying attention because he flares wide open. He goes to this guy, which is the wrong play, by the way, if you were playing safety. So congrats. You got lucky. You got lucky because he definitely could have ripped this to him right here because it's 1-1, and this is just an arm power throw.
Yeah, because he's not even throwing it by 359, and the safety is already coming up. And he's like, it looks like he's pointing at this seam route.
Yeah, maybe pump this, right? Pull that safety, because that's probably why he's coming down, because he's throwing it right here at 359. But pump this, and then...
your eyes here, and then hit him over the top.
Yeah, because that could have been a touchdown.
This is probably the least open route that he throws, honestly.
Yeah.
But, watch the throw. He makes it.
No, it's a good throw.
This is a tough throw. Look how close this guy is to the boundary. He has to float it over this linebacker, but he can't push it too far upfield because the safety did come down. So, I'm not a fan of the decision per se, but a big fan of the throw itself.
Yeah.
Very accurate throw, very well timed throw. Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm at 401. We're almost at the end here.
Yeah, I also have this guy.
All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. I mean, that accuracy on the boundaries. Nice job.
That he shouldn't be Oh, nice.
Just being tough in the
only
pocket.
Place where the receiver could,
mm-hmm.
where he wouldn't kill his receiver. So as a former receiver, I salute that.
Oh, Loveland. Red zone against Loveland too.
I don't think Ian Loomis is in on this.
There wasn't anywhere to go there.
Yeah, that was tough.
Okay.
Should we jump over to the Skyline film?
Yeah, here, let me pull that up here real quick. Okay, so he's definitely he's not a small quarterback by any means. When we met him, he was pretty built. He's at that 5'11", 185. Definitely could believe that. Probably a little bit more of a Baker Mayfield, Sam Howell build. Wouldn't you agree, though, Cody? Maybe Russell Wilson.
It's a great comparison for the build he's at.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty stout.
Yeah, and that's good.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
No. All right, I'm at 0-0 at the Skyline film here.
Here, let me pump it up to full screen here. We'll see some of the same plays, audience, but this was his best game of the season. Actually, before we hit play on this, let me explain why we're watching this game. First off, it was his second highest rated game as far as QBR goes, but the important thing here is that he goes 19 to 34 for 55% completion, or we'll call it 56% completion, which was his highest completion percentage all season. He threw 3 touchdowns this game, which was his highest touchdowns in one game. And he threw for 318 yards in this game, which was also his highest yards in this game. And, I mean, look, like I mentioned earlier, this is a program that did make the playoffs. And yeah, they were a very competitive squad this past year, the Skyline squad, that is. And to see this performance, no interceptions, mind you, as well. So best in terms of that. and just a game where they were competitive, and even at one point, at one point the score was 17-15, right? So they hung in tight, kind of fizzled out a little bit in the fourth quarter, but I think that there's a lot to be happy with from this game. And this is a game that Caden Box also played too, who is one of the I'd say one of the players that we're keeping an eye on this upcoming season, and he has a powerful arm. So this was a bit of a duel. Granted, Skyline also had is it Drews? Is that how you say that Skyline running back's name?
Win Drews?
Yeah, Win Drews.
Mm-hmm.
And what a football name, by the way. And he had an incredible game too. So, these are things to consider. But this is a great game against a great team. Is why I really plucked this one out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, well, let's hop into it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, little leak route here.
Aw.
I don't hate it. Fine.
Someone needs to offer Chino. I'm just gonna throw that out there. God, what a player! What a football player!
Watch his drop back.
This is another.
This is a rollout. Oh wait, this is the same one. It's just a different angle. Oh,
actually, this is 22. I don't know if that's Chino or not.
Okay, flea flicker here. Beats him over the
Nice.
top. Great play design. I like when they do stuff like this because it's like Kansas City Chiefs kind of, like reverse flea flicker, and I think that stuff is super sick. So,
Yes.
San Francisco 49er type beat. Okay,
This is
different
just
angle
that
of it,
play
once
from a
again.
different
Yep.
angle. Well, except the camera.
He's not throwing his whole body into it anymore. I think that he can maybe step into throw, but I understand if he's a little shell-shocked from the protection or lack thereof.
Oh, this one was just
This is just a great ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, do we get the sideline angle on this? Because I wouldn't mind seeing the sideline angle. Okay, sweet. It was definitely October.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the corner was doing there. Still in time, though. I mean, even if the corner was there to contest it, it's not like he was going to intercept it.
You could tell that Zjhonoah is like, this is taking candy from a baby here.
This was a really good throw right here. Because you had to hit him. Wait, the short though.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, let me go back real quick here.
Okay, I thought you might want to watch this again.
Yeah, so at minute 46, I just have it stopped here because you see the safety right here. He's obviously reading it, right? Because he's facing that way. I don't know what he's doing, but I assume this might be the other safety, maybe the corner. He's just playing very far off here. But he definitely has to hit it in this window because you see the linebacker. If you played a little bit more, this receiver is going to cross. So he's not really covering him. He's playing a zone. And so he needs to throw it right here in rhythm, which he does. And I think he's getting hit while he's throwing this too. Let me look at this real quick.
The running back was put into his lap. Kind of hit. He steps into it, though.
Yeah, he definitely takes a licking here. But still delivers it. I mean, that's just straight arm power in tight windows. I mean,
and look how much green is around the wide receiver at the point of the catch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's not
he's
super
not catching
late.
it in the safeties, when the safety has like a shoulder in his ribs. He doesn't have to make a crazy tough catch. He just has to secure the ball and then protect himself. He has time to protect himself. This is a quarterback's job to protect your wide receivers, especially on these throws over the middle. Shout out to Colin Bergeny for potentially giving me liver and kidney problems in the future. But anyways, this is exactly what you want. This is phenomenal timing, is how I'll count this pretty hardcore. And then, he gives his receiver enough time to secure the ball on this catch here.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm at 150 whenever you're ready.
150, hold up. Okay, 3, 2, 1. This might be a new play for us, which is exciting. Okay.
Oh, this is just a different
angle.
I mean, it looks better
Classic.
too from this angle. It looks like a real tight window. So.
Okay.
Nice. Little
That's good
side
timing.
step. Mm-hmm.
Way to put it in there too.
Yep.
This is a heavy blitz too. It looks like. They only bring 5. Great pickup.
I have a comment to make about their offense later, but we'll get into that when talking about film break or his actual ratings and stuff on a rubric here.
A nice rollout. This was that one pass where we think that somebody could have been more open here.
Yeah,
but
if he pumped
a good
it.
pass nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he did have a step on him, so I don't. It's not like a dangerous play at all.
No.
You know,
well,
so.
It's not a dangerous play, especially when you can make the throw.
Yeah, nice.
That was sweet.
Little throw on the run there.
Kind of off his back foot a little bit, but.
See a couple more quick hitters here in this game, which.
Dude, if you just run a hurry up offense with these same completions.
Oh, it'd be unstoppable. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
You don't need 1,000,000 yards every play. 5 to 10.
You don't.
You know? Get the first. When you're in the red zone, you'll find a way to get it done. Or you should.
If you get 4 yards every play, nice pitch.
Jeez.
Way to hold on to it and take the hit. He kind of got blocked.
Yeah, we'll watch that. Or is this the play right here?
We watch that again, or are they gonna redo it? I'm not sure.
Nah, he's gonna take plenty of hits. We could keep it going here. Oh yeah, here we go.
Dude, he gets crunched. Oh my gosh!
Jeez, you could have pulled up. You could have pulled up, but that's fine. Whatever. It's a first down, fool. It is what it is. It's a first down. Well, I mean, like, screw it.
I'm not.
You know.
I'm laughing because you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You like it though. God, what a player here, Chino. Breaking tackles. Good throw too, though. Dropback's a little interesting. Did you see that?
Here, wait. Can we rewatch that?
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at my rubric. Okay.
Oh,
I think his dropback is pretty inconsistent through all of his film.
Okay, it's playing in that right now, but go ahead.
Oh. Well, I was just going to say, a lot of the time, his feet kind of cross in, like, the... How should I say this? In the kind of tight way, if that makes sense. Like, he's almost, like, scraping, like, the top of, like, his other foot whenever he's crossing across his feet. Here you have a weird kind of shuffle here. But
yeah.
I honestly think that this looks a little bit cleaner than a lot of his other dropbacks, even though it's... His footwork, while improved, still needs work. I don't think he's quite found his footing yet. Haha. Laughing at my show.
Well, also, it's different when you're playing against pressure as well. Look how many people that they have up against this offensive line, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because something I kind of want to throw out there is that sometimes Greeley Central, and I observed this when they played Pooter in their scrimmage in the preseason. When they're lining up all bunched up like that, like in that wing tee, like triple option type of look, I mean, teams are going to have to stack the box against you. So if they're playing the run, then you're going to have more than 5 guys going up against your 5 linemen. You know what I'm saying, Cody? Like, you're going to have at least 2 guys who are playing contain, and then you might have 3 guys up the middle, maybe even 4. And so you're looking at half the defense being thrown at him low-key because of some of the schemes he's at. So whenever he drops back in that little, like, bunch triple option type of look, I mean, I don't know. If you got to put a lot of trust in your 5 linemen to pick up an already stacked, like, look, you know. And so I would rather have him be in shotgun 4 wide and then just go from there because there's no reason to like stack the box and put more pass rushers in your own face, right? In your offense's own face. There's no reason for that. So if you go 4 wide, go shotgun, then you're spreading out the defense. They can't have all those linebackers bunched up like that. And honestly, look, this isn't any disrespect, but I don't think Greeley Central's line is good enough to hold those blocks with that many players coming at them. All lines would struggle. What?
I said under center, nonetheless.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Pine Creek, you watch what they did with JoJo. I mean, early on in the season, I feel like, and last year especially when they had a down season, they tried to do that, and it just didn't work out because they were just stacking the box against JoJo, and against the run as well. And so you got to start taking linebackers out of this box here, or you're just going to keep getting screwed over. Because, I mean, best case scenario, it's a quick hitter on some of those plays. You can't run deep plays out of that formation, though. You just can't, and if you are, you're probably rolling the dice a little bit. So I'm just going to throw that out there. And so that's probably why his drop back is a little weird. When we watched him in sevens at those Ducks tryouts, I mean, he looked fine.
It looked better at the 7v7.
Yeah, and that's obviously with no pressure. So that's, I mean, there's differences in 7v7 football. We acknowledge that, but also if he has a clean pocket, maybe it wouldn't look like that all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. Here, I'm gonna replay his sophomore year highlights for the viewers as we go ahead and grade.
I'm playing in the background as I finish my grades here.
Because I'm pretty sure of where I'm at, honestly.
Oh, God. It just popped my back so hard that I coughed.
Wow, what can you...
Louise.
So just give us a minute as we go through all of these. And then, we'll get this thing going.
Simon waiting until the last second to do all of his grades. Here, let me put the formula in here for you. That way you don't have to do that. Don't say I never did nothing for you.
Oh, I will.
Okay. Okay. No, this is the first time that I've been pretty set on my grades here.
Some of these grades, I'm just going to throw out there. I'm not like it's not entirely his fault, and I don't know. We'll talk about it. Like, I don't know how much better he could have done, honestly. Oh, I was getting... Okay. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it here.
That is a typo.
Okay. So...
Here, all right, let's take a look here.
Let's start with arm power.
We're pretty close on a lot of these.
Yeah. Let's talk this through. Here, do you want to talk through our process real quick here when it comes to grading?
Right. The rubrics here.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can hear us talk about it a little bit while we're breaking down the film, obviously, with, that was good arm power, good accuracy, good timing. Any little things that we make comments on, that's good to keep mental stock of for how we're going to grade it later. Our 10 categories, we have 10 categories, I should clarify, scored 1 through 10. The 1 through 3 meaning that it needs improvement and it should be a priority. This could get you benched pretty easily. Or this skill could hold you back entirely. 4 to 6 is average. The skill's, below average on a bad day, above average on a good day. And, it'll work and it'll keep you afloat on high school level. But maybe should be an area of focus for that next level, that college level of football. 7 to 8, this is above average to good. This is 2 to 3 star talent. They can have a wow play in here every once in a while, or, it's something that is pretty consistent. 8 to 9 is good to great. This is comparable to 3 to 4 star talent. This is our wow plays. This is, oh, look at the timing on that throw. Oh, look at the arm power. Look at this. We take time to stop and point out, hey, this is a dang good thing that they just did. 9 to 10, very good to elite. This is very hard to get, but this is comparable to a 4 or 5 star talent. And, even when it's bad, it's good. And this what makes you a top recruit. So we go through 10 categories. I'm just going to fire them off. Arm power, arm accuracy, timing on throws, overall mechanics, fluidity, decision-making skills, scramble ability, throw on the run ability, pocket awareness, pocket movement, frame. All combine those, and out of 100, that's your grade. Simon, I've been yammering on for a second, but our arm power scores are nearly identical.
Yeah, do you want to just talk arm power, accuracy, and timing all at once?
That makes a lot of sense. I bet that's why they are where they are on the rubric built by Coach V, right?
Yes, that's exactly why. But go ahead.
Our composite score of these 3 categories is pretty close. My arm power, I gave him a 8.7, so I think it's very good. It is where I expected it to be, or where I could see it going, I should say, from last year. Like, hey, he can push down the field. Does he have to try so hard? It's a lot more effortless, and I think that came with just more strength and size. He did exactly what we asked of him to do in the offseason, and you saw the immediate improvement. So just take that as a note for anybody who's asking for their film broken down, that we're just trying to help you out. Anyways, arm accuracy, Simon and I, exact same score, 8.1. He's able to dot up defenses. You love to see it. And then the only big difference here is timing on throws. I gave him an 8.4, and Simon gave him a 7.5. Simon, do you want to talk about, why you think we saw eye to eye on some of these categories, and then maybe where that gap in timing on throws comes from?
Yeah, so let me talk arm power, arm accuracy. Arm power gave him an 8.8. I think it's close to a 3-star, 4-star guy realistically right now. And I'm pretty positive one day it might even be a 5-star type of deal. I'm very interested to see how this offseason goes, if he could get stronger, if all that great stuff, because obviously that'll affect his grade here. But where he's at right now, I feel pretty good about. I'm like, okay, he could definitely play D1 with this arm power here. Yeah, and be good as well, not just be like, he's like Matt Castle deal. Like, nah, he could probably be a starter somewhere. Arm power wise, arm accuracy gave him an 8.1. I think this is closer to a 3-star rating. It's hard to evaluate, partially just looking at his season film, just because it's like there are some interesting offensive plays being called, and the situation he's being put in isn't always the greatest, and so he has all these pass rushers in his face, even against Greeley West, who they still blew out. It wasn't like they weren't getting any pass rush on him at all. And so that's definitely a little bit concerning. And this isn't a knock on his linemen. I mean, Leon, he's a great player and whatnot, but he's also one of 5 offensive linemen. So I don't know what else you want there. And so arm accuracy, this is at an 8.1 more so because of a consistency when it comes to throwing the ball. There are some balls he throws a little behind. Some, it could be a little bit crisper, a little bit better here. And so that's more of a consistent thing. I'll talk about how we could improve that later on. I mean, obviously, situationally, it is what it is. Cody, you gave him an 8.4 for timing. I gave him a 7.5. The 7.5 is more so situationally. I think it's rarely there are any times where he has a clean pocket, and so timing could be a little off. In the few film that we did see, he was relatively good, but it wasn't like there were a whole ton of timing throws. And when I talk about timing, I usually take out deep balls, because usually, unless it's an issue, if it's an issue, I'll call it out. But usually I take out deep balls. I'm looking at more short, medium, can he throw in timing? In the red zone, is he efficient? That type of stuff. And so I'm looking at some of that, and he does do a lot of good. And then also thinking back to 7-on-7, looking at some of that film as well, he was pretty solid with his timing, working with some receivers for the first time. But granted, I'm just going to throw this out there. There were definitely some timing issues, in that one 7v7 session that I saw, which is definitely nitpicky. I'm not even going to cap. It is, but if it's there, then it's okay, well, if he's at a showcase or if he's trying out for a squad, I mean, it's not like he's going to have, like, receivers that he's throwing to that he's super familiar with all the time. You got to learn to play with receivers that, are a little bit faster or slower or stronger, whatever, And so your timing as a quarterback has to be relatively good there. And so that's why I gave him a 7.5. This is more consistency more than anything. So yeah, other than that, we're pretty much lined up. 8.8 arm power for me, 8.1 arm accuracy, 7.5 timing. You gave him 8.7 arm power, same arm accuracy at 8.1, 8.4 timing. So there you go.
Yeah, I like the flashes.
Go ahead.
There is flashes of 5-star timing in this film.
Oh, absolutely.
Flashes. It's not, like you said, consistency. So I can see the range for that as well. Ultimately, not too big of a difference here.
No.
But the flashes are spectacular.
No,
I was woed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe with a system that asks him for more of these, kind of intermediate throws, that's where this timing on throws thing can get a little bit flexible too. These concepts, there are opportunities for timing, but it's not timing reliant. It's not, one of those deep hits over the middle, posts here and there, you know what I mean? So that's something to also consider.
Yeah, no, for sure. So there you go. Mechanics, we had a different opinion. You gave him a 5.7. I gave him a 7.7. Look, I'm going off of more so his 7-on-7 film because that's like that's when we got to see him last. Throw mechanically and all that, and you actually had time because there's no pressure really in sevens. You just have to make decisions quickly and all that, and that's on the quarterback, to be honest with you. But watching his timing, man, I mean, even some of his dropbacks, it looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty good. Like not just like dropping back like when he's like 50 yards away from the end zone, but like when he's in the red zone as well. Like it's not rushed or anything. Like it looks pretty good. Throwing motion is pretty great as always. You can definitely see him engaging his body and ripping just absolutely ripping some of these throws. Cody, I know you did mention a play here in the end zone in that tryout where he absolutely just like rips a D1 throw here in the end zone to his receiver. I don't know if the receiver was ready, but he was definitely about to get crunched by two linebackers if he didn't rip it in there. And he did. And so I'm looking at those mechanics and I'm like, okay, I like it. Like, I'm not looking at him. I'm like, okay, he needs to work on all these things mechanically or he's, like, unrecruitable because that's, that's where I would be at there. And, for a second-year quarterback with not the greatest, like, system around him, all that stuff, I think it's pretty good. Now, it's at a 7.7 and not higher, and this even is a little bit generous because of the film we did see from his regular season, That stuff that we saw in the offseason, hopefully it translates. I'm sure it will and whatnot, but that's what we want to see. We want to see some of that translate more over into the offseason here, even if there is a million guys in your face. And so that's why I can't go higher. And so if anything, this is another consistency issue, which isn't entirely his fault, but as a quarterback, you got to control the things you can control. Mechanics, that's one of them. Is that fair, Cody?
Yeah, no, consistency is going to be the name of the game with a lot of these ratings just because he wasn't presented with as many opportunities to show consistency.
Yes.
That's just how it goes. It happens to every single position. Even in the best of the rest tight ends, I was like, I can only give you so much with the sample size I'm given. You know what I mean? So here with the overall mechanics / fluidity, I think that it's miles above where it was last year. If I had to grade the mechanics from last year, we had a rubric. It would have been tough. It would have been very tough. It might have been around the 4 area. But, dramatic improvement this year. I think that he ironed a lot of things out. I think that he's still figuring things out. So this is more of a... this is kind of, I think, where his floor is for overall mechanics / fluidity. He does show glimpses here. He does engage his body a lot more when he's throwing. He's not throwing his whole body, engaging his body a lot more than he was last year. I think that, and like you said, at those Ducks tryouts, it looked pretty good. And maybe consistency of play calls or something can help iron some of these things out. I don't really think there's anything wrong with his throwing motion. That's not where this lies. A lot of this kind of comes in the footwork kind of area here for his overall mechanics / fluidity, and just some inconsistencies in this film here.
Sure.
I understand the 7.7 from what we saw at Ducks. I'm just not quite ready to throw that on the line quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, this could definitely fluctuate, so. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, though, So, there you go. Now,
We're pretty close here.
Decision making, we're pretty close. I gave him a 5. Cody, you gave him a 4.6. I'm going to be real. I don't think this is his problem at all. I'm just going to be real. I'm not giving him this grade because he makes horrible decisions, I'm giving him this grade because he doesn't make enough decisions. I feel like, the coaching staff definitely kind of trusted him down the line to throw the ball more, and that's great, But I just didn't see enough, complicated enough offensive concepts where I was like, oh yeah, he's making a great decision here and there. Now, his heads-up decision-making is pretty good. I mean, honestly, most of the time, if you could just get the ball out and get positive yards, that's really all I could ask for. Because half the time, really a good majority of the time, if he's dropping back, and especially from that little triple option formation or whatever they have going on there, he's not going to have time to go through reads. He's just not. You don't have the personnel to do that. First off, and especially when you're in that formation, like I've been saying, you have mismatches all over that aren't only talent mismatches, but number mismatches as well. And so that's an issue, So when it comes to decision making, half the time it's like, okay, I need to get rid of this ball before I get knocked out or whatever. And he didn't have many fumbles or turnovers and stuff like that, which is pretty good. But also, I mean, it seemed more like maybe the coaching staff expected him to just be like, yo, hey, if you survive, that's pretty good decision making.
Survive.
Yes, that's it. To be honest with you. And so I'm not giving him this because, he's a one-read guy. He can't look at read. When we saw him in the offseason, he was making his reads, and he was making good decisions, for sure. Definitely some other questionable ones thrown in there from time to time, but that's also maybe concepts are opening up and rest that could be a million things, and so I don't want to rely too much on sevens there when it comes to decision making because I just haven't seen enough, and so that's why he's at a 5 here. Cody, would you agree with that evaluation?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not putting him here because I don't think he can't make reads. I'm putting him here because he was only asked to basically make one read. And that is a scheme thing, but it is something that will be reflected here. And I do cut him some slack here for the 7 interceptions for sure. A lot of those are playing from behind. I mean, that Brighton game, come on, you know what I mean? But yeah. It is something that to at least consider. You can see that when he was allowed to establish a rhythm, that was some of his best throwing games. Greeley West a little bit, as well as that Skyline game and get into a rhythm. Like I was saying, that they should have done run, hurry up and let him complete 8 passes in a row, because I think he can. What he's asked to do, he does very well at it.
Yes.
So this is a little bit on the harsher side, for sure, on my part. But, the 4s kind of ranges, they can do what they're asked to do. And unfortunately, that is all that Zjhonoah is being asked to do. I say unfortunately because I think he's a guy who can go through 3 reads.
I mean, yeah. Well, he's not an idiot, he ran pretty complicated. No, this isn't anything towards you. Personally, he's not an idiot. There are concepts that are a little bit more complicated that he ran in middle school compared to high school, personally. At least that I'm looking at. I know what he could do, bruh. So, open it up a little bit. Plus, also, that fits your personnel, so I don't know what you're doing. So there you go. Sadly, I don't know if this could go up if they keep asking him to run this little wing T, triple option, run heavy type of thing they have going on. And so I'm just going to throw that out there. And that's nothing he could really control, So there you go. Scramble ability. I mean, we both watched him run his 40-yard dash. Sadly, he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Kyler Murray. Like I said,
asking him to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there a couple of times. I'm pretty confident with this comparison, but I see a lot of Baker Mayfield and Sam Howell in his game as he's growing and developing. That's kind of the quarterback he is, high key, and so he's not gonna burn anyone, but he's mobile enough. He's going to be able to manipulate the pocket, and then get short yardage. Football. Say that again.
He can play a modern game of football.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I mean, rigid quarterbacks they still exist, but every day they start to become more of a thing of the past. I should say, and I think Zjhonoah is capable of running a modern offense. And
so I like the rushing attempts.
Yeah, therein lies. Now, something that I don't really like the rushes for negative yards because of the sacks, especially with that line. So his running numbers are a little bit undersold, I'll say, at least on his max preps, in my opinion. But I would, I think that he could probably run for a couple of touchdowns. That wouldn't hurt his scramble ability. I think that there's opportunities for it, especially in this rollout system. I like the pass first, but I don't know. When you have some plays, maybe make a little miss on a defender or something like that.
Yes,
but that's being pretty nitpicky. I still gave it a 6.2.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is more so just based on athleticism than anything. Agility's definitely there. I mean, that's a good thing. Agility's definitely there. Top end speed. I mean, you either have it or you don't. To be honest, if you're playing quarterback, who cares? Win the game, right? So. There you go. Not really a concern. There's plenty of quarterbacks that are at this level and lower, to be honest with you. Right, Cody?
Okay. And this next category is kind of a nice transition because, talking about can he run? Yeah, he can, but not in the enthusiastic, you can watch out for this guy kind of way, which we will have one of those later on this episode. Mm-hmm. But, speaking of that, I think that he's also a quarterback who can throw on the run. Talking about running that modern offense, we saw a lot of these boots, a lot of these rollout throws. So he was asked to throw on the run quite a bit. And, we have a little bit of a difference here. I'd put my grade at a 7.3 here. And you're just a point above me. I think it's good. I think the only thing that's missing is some of the more complicated passing concepts. Like, why did they take away, some of these, come back on the outside routes on the far side of the field? I think that's a great display of a throw on the run, and it just wasn't there. Or, there was a couple of plays where I was like, whoa, but there wasn't, a ton of throw on the run plays that just blew my mind. I'm looking at maybe deep corner routes is something that could expand this category. So this is another one of those things where it's he just doesn't have the samples that I'm necessarily looking for a higher grade. This doesn't mean that he can't throw on the run. 7.3 is still a good grade. A lot of people who request things don't realize that 7 is good. You can play on the next level with 7. But Simon, you have him rated closer to that 3-star kind of level.
Well, yeah, I think when it comes to just raw throw-on-the-run ability, he's easily a 3-star guy. I mean, he's just easily a 3-star guy, and it's because he has to do it a lot. If anything, this is the thing that he kind of does a lot. Now, it's not like some of these complicated routes that you talked about, Cody, which is weird that, they did have some of those, they just went away with some of those things. And that's not his, that's honestly not his issue. You can't do anything about that if you're a player. That's on the coaches, to be honest. That's on play calling, to be honest. I don't want to say all the coaches, but that's on play calling, Throw on the run ability, I think it's up there. I think when he scrambles out, and he doesn't, he could easily beat the first pass rusher, but if they're bringing second and third and fourth and fifth, then maybe it gets a little bit much. But if he scrambles out of the pocket, don't get it twisted, he's dangerous. He could rip you apart if his receivers are getting separation and if they're running, complicated enough routes here. Because you can't get creative with it but it takes a lot of work. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, this is something that, like, you have to be working on in the off season, and that chemistry with your receivers have to be on point. They have to know what routes they're running first off, and even that, if you could somehow throw in option routes for your receivers, oh my God, this whole offense would be different. If you had a couple guys running option routes and you're reading a linebacker or a safety and being like, okay, if he does this, I'm running this. If he does this, I'm running this. So that it's not just like, oh, I'm running by route. Okay, I'm stuck in a zone. Like, you can't do anything about that. Homie's just stuck in a zone. Unless there's just nothing you could do, which is, oh my God, it is frustrating. But I definitely believe if he was to go throw for throw with some of the best in the country, not only in his class, but in every class, like, his throwing the run ability would be pretty good. And, I mean, this is also a show of his arm power as well, because he can, like, just rip it into some tight spots, both in the short and medium game. And then, obviously, we know he could throw it deep as well if it's there. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with your 7.3 rating. I could see the consistency there. But I think this is a solid grade. Keeping it going, though, let's talk about pocket awareness and movement. Might as well talk about it at the same time. We're basically similar here. I gave him a 7.6 in pocket awareness. Cody, you gave him a 7.7. Pocket movement, gave him a 4. You gave him a 5.4. Starting with awareness, I mean, he definitely senses the pressure. Almost to a fault, because I think there are definitely times where you could tell he's a little giddy. Watching him live as well, I felt like there were maybe a couple of times where it was like, okay, there's no pressure there, but you're definitely taking steps or moving away. Fading away too, which I know, like, I kind of feel like he didn't have that habit of fading away on some of these throws away from pressure, but shoot, when you're getting hit the way he did, God, I'm thinking of that triple option play where he gets absolutely, like, blasted hammered by that defensive end. Like I said, who could have pulled up, but whatever, first down, And so those habits form, and that's a tough thing. High key, in hindsight, in a couple years, if the line doesn't improve, this awareness, I think this may or may not be the highest it could be, just because it's like, if you're just assuming the pocket's going to collapse all the time.
Leslie Richardson type beat.
Yeah, we're looking at an LR3 type of career, which we talked about on the first film breakdown. Like, okay, well, this is a little bit of a bad habit, but there are definitely things he's doing because he's used to getting hit on every single play, regardless of whether it's good protection or not, just because of that's where his team is at right now. And so I'm sure that's where you're at with pocket awareness there. Pocket movement, I'm just going to say I gave him a lower grade just because I'm actually okay here. I could give him here. I'm being a little bit too harsh here.
I'm pressuring Simon.
I'm going up half a point, so it's not a lot. So instead of a 4, I'm giving him a 4.5. This is more so a situation. Yeah, no, easily. I mean, it's basically just reversed almost. But, I mean, look, I feel like this is more of an opportunities thing. You really don't get to see him work up in the pocket a lot. There are definitely a couple of times that he does a good enough job. But even if his line was to, get better and whatnot, I think maybe his internal clock still might be a little sped up. Which, he's maybe not sensing it as well, even if it's a clean pocket, and like he might be going into pressure. And so, like, there are definitely flashes here that are concerning to me as a coach and as a scout, where I'm like, oh, that might be a habit that they're going to have to break in college, So there you go. Not too much you can do about it now. I know he can move up in the pocket and throw. Better than some even, but there's just not a lot of opportunities. That's why he's right here. Cody, do you have any dispute with that before we talk about his payment size and then final grade here?
No, I mean, you have to sense the pressure when it's there, and he does. Especially when 6 splits and only 2 get picked up. Pretty hard to miss that, but he does a good job of adapting to the situation he's in. Pocket movement. There's definitely times I think he can step up in the pocket, and like you said, he drifts from time to time. But this is definitely a bit more on the generous projection-ish side, which we take turns kind of alternating, seeing where that's going to go. It just happened to land here. Our frame size, it's the same for our scale of quarterbacks. I have it rated at a 7.8. You have it rated at an 8. It's basically the same, like 3-star, high 2-star, 3-star level, 5'11", 185 pounds. Any quarterback that's under like 6'2", a lot of people have problems with. But this is not what I think is holding him back from recruiting. I mean, he's fine. I'm a big Baker guy too, so anytime you hear Coach V throwing out that Baker comparison, I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing from Coach Codes.
There you go. Final grade 71.5 for me. Cody 69.9. Nice for you. So pretty close. Here, let's keep it 100 real quick. This grade could definitely be higher. Yeah, it could definitely be higher. That's really all I gotta say. The number of categories where it's like, yeah, we just didn't see this, we didn't see this, we didn't see this, is definitely an alarming looking back. Because he's a good quarterback. I think legitimately, this guy is a 3-star quarterback. Cody, would you agree? I mean, excuse me, I'm just looking at the mobility, the athleticism. He's put on muscle significantly here, He's gotten stronger. He could rip it into some tough spots. He could throw it deep. His improv skills are high-key overlooked, I mean, he's a solid 3-star guy right now to me, even if his rating doesn't show. And so, sadly, part of the reason why his rating is like that is because we're going off the film we have, I mean, if we're working this kid out every day for the last couple months, then we'll see some things that'll help him out here and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you still have to make these plays on the football field during football season in the fall. And it's not that he can't make these. It's more so you got to be put in a position to make these, And as a quarterback, as a football player, just in general, it's really not your spot as a player to like question coaches and whatnot and be like, hey, you should do this and that, because that comes off as attitude issues and stuff like that, And plus, anyways, why would they listen to you? Because then they're like, oh, why is this little teenager telling me what to do? I'm 50, I know what I'm doing, and that's fine, But as a player, there's nothing you can control there, and sometimes you just have to accept that. And so, sadly, he's at the 71.5 when he probably, at least for me, he could definitely be an 80 if he was playing for a team like Rocky Mountain High School, who has an Ethan Thompson, one of the best left tackles in the state, an absolute beast and whatnot, who could protect his blind side. You know what I'm saying? And so it would be different in a different situation. Or if he was with Palmer Ridge, it'd be a different situation. Or even, okay, here's another comparison. Cody, maybe you won't pick up on this as much, but Tate Martell from Bishop Gorman, when he was in high school, I see a little bit of Tate Martell. I think Tate is maybe a little bit more athletic, a little bit more elusive, could run a little bit faster, all that stuff. That's fine. But I think as far as playing style goes, looking at height and weight, 5'11", 185, Tate is definitely in that range, If Zjhonoah Trujillo was with Bishop Gorman, oh my God. Like, it would be like the second coming of Tate Martell. You would see a lot of similarities there, in my opinion. And that's just what I believe. Like, I know he could ball out. Like, if it wasn't for that 7-on-7 tryout with the Ducks, like, I wouldn't have seen some of this stuff that I'm talking about, why I have so much faith in him, Is that fair to say, Cody? Here, let me put this little rubric here on the live stream so that they could see it. But is that fair to say, Cody?
It's valid. Absolutely, there's only so much that we can do. We can't hand out points for stuff that we don't see. It doesn't necessarily mean that we don't believe it. Seeing isn't always believing. And there's flashes, obviously, but we have to, as objective graders at the end of the day, take consistency into mind. And because, I mean, anybody could have a 5-star highlight, right?
Sure.
But, and this goes for all players.
Yeah.
Anybody can have a 5-star highlight, but do they have a 5-star drive? Do they have a 5-star quarter, game, season, champion? You know what I mean? These are all things that we have to consider for every player. And, that includes players who are unfortunately stuck in some unforgiving circumstances, including Zjhonoah here. Yeah, I don't really know of a better way of putting that. But I do like seeing some of the improvements. I do kind of get my hopes up a little bit here. Honestly, this Greeley Central team, they could have walked away with, instead of 1-9, like a 4-6 record, which would be
It's pretty good.
Great for this Greeley Central squad. The unfortunate thing is that this Greeley Central squad this upcoming season is graduating a lot of seniors. Including some dogs on offense. But, there are going to be guys in Zjhonoah's class who are focused and driven like himself and hopefully improve in this offseason and gradually climb up and up. I also think that Greeley Central would probably be more competitive in the 3A level. I don't know if they're going to be reclassified. Still waiting on word from that Chassa thing. But, and that's not necessarily a dock on any player. Look, we've had 3A players. There's potential 1A players there are 1A players who've made our top 5 senior list and everything like that. And it's just like, but a situation is very important. Not because they can't handle the other situation, but can the rest of their team handle the other situation? / ineligibility is a problem in schools, and people showing up to practice, and ineligibility in both the practices required and the GPA kind of way. You're getting a constant rotation of players. I know because I coached in this said district and had to deal with these said problems. So these are things that we do have to consider for a team like Greeley Central, and that will untimely reflect on Zjhonoah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a reflection of Zjhonoah.
Yeah. And it's not to bash them and all that. Look, they were opening it up near the end of the season, going into this next season. Look, I mean, you got to give the keys to your quarterback eventually. He's your starting quarterback for a reason. If you feel like you can't give your keys to your quarterback, I don't know what to tell you. And it's not like he's unworthy of that, because he definitely is. Watching him throw and whatnot just a couple months ago, I'm like, oh my god. Imagine what this offense could do if they just let him cook. And so once again, for the second year in a row, I'm saying, hey, let him cook. Hit these quick hitters, spread it out. Work with what you got. Don't give your linemen bad number situations to work with, because I know we have been harsh on them, but also they have been given a lot of bad number situations. They don't have the advantage in numbers, I feel like, a lot of the time, and that's a coaching thing. That's a scheming thing. What are you doing bringing all these players into the box?
You're running the ball so much that these players are in the box.
Absolutely.
Which, they did have Chino, but Chino's also going to suffer if the box is packed too. So.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so opening it up, I think, will go a long way. We'll see if they do or not. As of right now, we have talked, I'm not a guy, we've talked about, sophomores, making our top 5 senior list, where they stand right now. Obviously, we have broken down Blake Palladino. We're about to break down Blake Barnett coming up right here soon here. And so we're forming, Liam Zarka as well. We haven't broken down his film yet, but we will. He's definitely in the running. And so we're forming a top 5 senior list right now as we go, as these players progress and get better. And unfortunately, I think Zjhonoah Trujillo, he's more than good enough to potentially be a top 3 quarterback in the state come senior year, for sure. Now, will the ratings go his way, and, will the program help him out here to get there? I don't know.
You gotta look at the volume of our top 5 senior quarterbacks. They're all given the keys.
Yeah.
And so are the best of the rest guys.
Yeah.
So,
and he's good enough to have the keys. I'm going to throw that out there as many times as possible. He's more than good enough. So, I don't know. Cody, is there anything else you want to add on before we move on?
I guess we'll talk about the quarterback who traumatized me in my very first coaching experience for a varsity program. We could do that.
My bad. I was
Coach.
muted there. My bad. Yeah, I was muted. I had to cough real quick.
I have
But
this,
yeah.
I have this film pulled up. Do you want me to introduce this next cat of ours?
Yeah, go ahead and introduce, and then I will also talk about what we said about him last year as well.
Oh, right. We do want to do that. Well, as for, this quarterback here, Blake Barnett, the Erie quarterback, the leader of the state runner-ups here on the 4A level. By the way, they've been a 4A program for 2 years, and they've already had 2 incredible seasons with Blake here at the helm. I believe that he has offers from CU and CSU, and he's been looked at by Georgia, and I want to say that there's some Ohio State interest, but not 100% confirmed. I'd have to double check. But, we have notes from last year if Simon wants to lead that charge. And, I even have some notes from games this year that we can get into, or from a game this year that was in the playoffs that I watched in its entirety. And, Simon, if you want to go ahead and catch us up on what we talked about.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, last year, we talked about Blake Barnett. Started as a freshman. Cody, here, let's start with strengths here. So, Cody, you said he's an excellent runner. I'm going to throw this quote out there because I think it's something that we need to acknowledge for sure. But you definitely said, and I agreed, but you definitely said that I think he might even be more of a run-first quarterback. We said he had good vision, a great stiff arm, very agile. You see him make a lot of quick cuts, pretty elusive here. And then ultimately, we said he moves well for that 6'1", 210-pound frame. He's pretty elusive, and so that's what we liked a lot about Blake Barnett here. We also said he has effortless arm power. It's like a flick of the wrist. We see a lot of flashes of accuracy as well. We see him making a couple pretty big wow plays, and so there's a lot of potential here. When talking about just arm talent in general, it came off as more like, oh, there's a lot of potential. We could see him throwing it downfield great. We could see him throwing with great accuracy. We could see him just throwing so effortlessly. There's a lot to like here. He has a lot of juice on his throws. And so ultimately, he's just a great athlete. Oh, and then we also said he has pretty good awareness, senses pressure well as a quarterback. Head is always on a swivel. And so with Blake Barnett, those are the 3 main things we said about him. He is just a top-tier athlete when it comes down to it. He's a top-tier athlete, a true dual threat. He could run it. He could definitely throw it. And, he's shown sparks of, being a great passer as well with that awareness. And so there you go there. Fantastic athlete, easily. And I think we also said he might even be one of the better dual threats in the state right now, comparing him to other quarterbacks. So just keep that in mind. But talking areas of improvement, this is what I said against him. If I'm scheming against Blake Barnett, here's what I would do. And then this is the quote I said, word for word. I said, defensively, I would force him to throw the ball and throw the entire house at him. And so basically I said I would force him to throw strikes from the pocket or throw on the run against pressure. I said, I wouldn't just throw coverage out there. I'd see how he reacts against pressure, see if he crumbles or see if he rises to the occasion. And so there you go. Cody, you also said, this was a little separate, in that conversation, but you also said, I don't know how he would react to blitzes when it's not max protect. That's your quote. And then you also said before that, Erie had a lot of max protect type of looks there. So there you go. And then coming back to me here, I said he plays a bit reactionary. I said there are times he improvises really well because he's a great athlete. But if coaches run different coverages and looks against him, there could be some problems. I definitely had some questions about his ability to read a defense as a passer and whatnot. Also said we wanted to see him throw a wider variety of routes. He was definitely used more as a runner than a passer, or at least it felt that way. Cody, you said his throwing motion needs a lot of work, and you said his footwork and his base just needs to be more consistent when throwing the ball. Said he looks like a running back throwing the ball, and then you also said he looks a little lazy when throwing the ball. It's You were kind of going in, which is a lot. I didn't say or agree with any of those things, but I acknowledge I could see it at
You gotta
times.
call these. You gotta call these players up because Blake
That's fair.
Barnett could be. He could be that guy. I mean, look, this upcoming class has that guy in Braden Dorman. Blake Barnett should be that guy of the class of 24.
Yes,
Um,
you should be.
he should be.
Yeah, because I mean, arguably he's the best athlete. Maybe not even arguably, to be honest with you. So there you go. But that's what was said. Then we both agreed on these next two things. That he needs to work on ball placement. A lot of throws are behind his receivers. Those will be picks. So there you go. And then we said he just needs to be a better pocket passer. Ultimately, we said he needs to solidify himself as a passer, or Erie might move him to another position down the road if they have a more pocket passer type of quarterback to replace him, because maybe they feel like, okay, maybe we could win more games with more of a pocket passer. Blake, he's a great athlete. We could put him somewhere else. And so we said, we just said he just needs to develop as a passer and not let his job get taken away and be proactive with all that. Continue to work, even though he had a very good freshman year. And then, Cody, you put this out there. You said, for his job, wait, okay, either I mistyped it or you missaid it, so it's probably me mistyping it. But basically, you said for his job to be safe, he needs to win a conference/division title next year as a sophomore, and so there you go. There, I didn't quite agree with that because I'm like, well, if he's a better passer, there's a lot of things that could happen. It's not all on him, and so obviously he did that and more.
Yep.
And so Cody, I'll throw it to you. Talk about how this last season went, in case the viewers don't know.
All right. So, in case you were under a rock for all of the Colorado high school football season, Erie, yeah, you could say they won a conference title and a couple of playoff games and a semifinal playoff game, quarterfinal, all the way to Mile High Stadium to face off against Chatfield in the state championship. This Erie football team was incredible this year. Had a chance to talk to some of the seniors on this squad when Coach V and I went to Media Day. Absolute pleasure to meet these guys. And, Blake Barnett helped lead this team to an undefeated run all the way up until the state championship. And on the way, earned high praise, lots of looks, led the state in touchdowns. He was one of the top ranked players nationally for total touchdowns scored by a sophomore. And just to kind of run through it, he threw 27 touchdowns to 7 picks, which is great, honestly. Huge strides as a passer, lots of good completion percentages for like a 65% total completion percentage. Then he added on another 24 scores on the ground, totaling for 51 touchdowns, which not only, like I said, was good enough for this incredible run to Mile High, but it was also enough to win our 4A MVP, Most Valuable Playmaker Award, for our end of the year awards here at Playmakers Corner. Big time player this year. And, in basically any given game, he was probably the best player on the field. I can say that pretty confidently. So last year, just to kind of give that backdrop a little bit, his freshman year, I should say, it was that shortened year where they only played 6 games. They went 4-2, had to face off against him as a true freshman. He ran all over us and he threw all over us, so that was a little bit of a nightmare. Lost a couple of games here to Windsor and Brighton, but this was a team that was built around Mason Vive, I would say, more so than maybe this team from this last year. So that is something to kind of keep in mind when talking about that, the 2020 year to the 2021/2022 year. But, Erie was a team that just narrowly missed out on the playoffs on what was a smaller playoff bracket anyways. Transitioning to this year, like I said, 13-1, and beating some good teams along the way pretty hard. Unfortunately, didn't get to see him and Keegan duel it out in this Longmont game. But against this Skyline team, 49-0. This Silver Creek team, 51-21. Brighton, 47-27. Broomfield, who is somebody that in the preseason we had rated very high, 49-21. Beating a Windsor team that made the playoffs, 41-0. Then in the playoffs, 50-26 against Fruita Monument, 28-18 against Palmer Ridge, 29-28 in a crazy game against Montrose before making it to the state championship. Just talking about a game before that, I have some notes from my Palmer Ridge game here, and Barnett, he played very well in this game, and he kept a lot of plays alive. The biggest takeaways that I had from this game is that he got first downs when they mattered, whether he had to run or whether he had to pass it. Now, this was a great team effort. Caleb also had an incredible game. Shout out to our guy Caleb here, big-time PMC fam over there at Erie. But, lots of chain-moving throws, lots of chain-moving runs, keeping it himself to run into the end zone, and just performing very well against this Palmer Ridge team that, all around was very built, in basically every position except for the one Blake plays to have a pretty fair path towards the championship. But, in that Palmer Ridge game, like I said, big-time rusher, ran for 3 touchdowns in that game, and, didn't have any turnovers through the air, completed 70% of his passes. Just a very clean game against an opponent that will kill you if you make mistakes. So that's what you want to see, especially against a seasoned team such as Palmer Ridge, who have been around the block. They've been in state championships. They were in the 4A state championship last year, and they'd won, state championships on the 3A level. Lots of success. So to see him overcome this well-coached program was big time. And to see him do it in the way that he did, this was a very close back-and-forth game, and one that he helped, kind of grind out that clock and, found the end zone with a little over 3 minutes left to go to make it basically impossible for Palmer Ridge to catch up from down 10. Moving on a little bit here, this Erie versus Montrose game, he started off the scoring with a passing touchdown, and then he would catch them back up, driving them down the field so that Caleb get a rushing touchdown here. Blake Barnett did, with 4 minutes left, led a drive to score a 1-yard rushing touchdown, making it 28-21 in the fourth quarter. Then they'd get the ball back here, and Blake Barnett would run it in himself for the 2-point conversion to beat Montrose 29-28. Clutch performance through the 10-yard touchdown pass as well to even make it possible. And yeah, just an overall great season leading up to this state championship game. He shattered my expectations, even though I knew that he was a serious threat. Simon, listening to Erie's season, obviously it's a team sport, and there are a lot of phenomenal players that, are unfortunately graduating. Some are returning. But hearing this season from Blake Barnett, what kind of impression does this make on you, and how does that compare to the expectations that we set for him?
Yeah, I mean, look, he got better significantly at that. It wasn't like he was like, he made some minimal progress. Like, no, he made some pretty good progress in his mechanics for sure, in his passing. He got noticeably better. Let's keep it 100 there. He got noticeably better, and that's honestly really good to see. That's always a good thing to see, players get better as a passer and whatnot. I think he could still continue to get better here. Just being honest, but just had a very good season, a breakout season. I don't know if Erie would have made. I don't know if they would have made the state championship game without him. Is that fair to say, Cody?
Absolutely. They had lots of studs around him, but this was no longer an offense built for Mason Vive. This was an offense built and led by Blake Barnett, and obviously some huge benefactors there, and still some great players. Aiden Oxiger, a top 5 senior tight end for us. Caleb Tyson, whose film I still need to break down, but just a phenomenal running back himself. Very polite guy, and just receivers all over the place. But you have to have someone who can throw it to them. And when you have a running quarterback like Blake Barnett, it kind of has that RG3 impact for running backs where, well, I don't want to get burnt by Blake Barnett, but then you have to choose to get burnt by Caleb. Well, crud. And this team, while Blake Barnett had an incredible season passing the ball, 27 touchdowns, 2,500 yards, this team ran for like 3,000 yards.
Yeah. I mean, they have talent. Yeah, obviously
Everywhere.
outside of him. Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. So, I mean, look, he's extremely talented, and I decided to look this up because you did say he was second in the country in touchdowns scored, right? He had
For the
24.
sophomore class, is that correct?
Yeah, in this 2024 class. So, 24 rushing touchdowns, 27 passing ones, right?
Yeah, 51 total touchdowns.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take off this cover, and we're going to look at the top 24 quarterbacks, or the top 2024 quarterbacks here that are already rated according to 24/7 Sports. Okay.
I'm leaning in here.
Okay. So here's what we got. Blake Barnett is not on this list. Period. Let me tell you who is on this list, and then we'll compare some stats just real quick before we talk about his stuff, though.
I like this twist that you're pulling on me here, Coach.
Well, there's going to be some exposing to do here. So at number 1, Jaden Davis from Charlotte, North Carolina. What? Okay, so there you go. You have Julian Sayin from Carlsbad, California. Dylan Raiola from Chandler High School. Remember, Cherry Creek went down there and they limited him to like less than 20 points. So, there you go. Just keep that in mind. But he's a 4-star guy, apparently. Then you have Elijah Brown from Mater Dei. I'm just going to be honest with you. Whether they're good or not, Mater Dei quarterbacks are going to be at least 4 stars and up. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It's not fair, but it's Mater Dei. And so people are going to overvalue that. That's why you have guys that are arguably busts like JT Daniels and some Mark Sanchez, or was Sanchez one? And just so forth and so forth. That's just kind of a California thing. Isaac Wilson, he's only up here because his brother Zach Wilson is in the NFL, but apparently he's a 4-star guy, so whatever.
66 pounds.
Yeah. Adrian Posey from Columbus down in Miami. Cole Welliver from Flower Mound. Jaden Bradford, an IMG guy. If he goes to IMG, he's going to be a 4-star and up. That's who IMG is, whether they're good or not. So there you go. I'm just going to be honest with you. You have I don't know if it's Desmond or Demon Williams, but regardless, from Basha, that's
another one of those AZ QBs.
Mm-hmm. And so they're gonna get arguably, maybe rated a little bit higher than they deserve
at the bare minimum.
Sure, and then you have CJ Carr from Salina, Missouri here, and so all these guys are 4-star guys. Now, Elijah Brown from Mater Dei. Just here, let me move this over just a little bit so you can actually see it here. Because you can see a lot of these top quarterbacks right here. And so this is organized by passing, by the way. But right at, around this 30, 20-ish spot here, you have Blake Barnett from Erie, Colorado. Here, let me move down here. 2,560 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Pretty solid. Elijah Brown, 2 less games, notably, but still 2,581 passing yards, 30 touchdowns to 6 picks. That's not the biggest difference. Barnett had way more rushing yards than him. So there you go. So, he's one rank above him as far as passing goes here. Right here, you have Demon Williams at 29th. Threw for maybe 100 more yards. Only threw 20 touchdowns to 4 picks. Blake Barnett, 27 touchdowns to 7 picks. You know what I'm saying here? So it goes on and on. Isaac Wilson is not even in the top 50 here as far as passing goes. So he shouldn't be rated higher than Blake Barnett, but because it's Colorado, that's where he's at. Now
to mention the rushing impact.
Yes, he's not the runner or athlete that Blake Barnett is. That's just facts. Now the highest rated quarterback that was on this list here is Dylan Raiola. Or not highest rated, but passing wise as a leader is Dylan Raiola out of Burleson. On here, he was hold up. If I go to 24/7 composite, yep, he's the 3rd guy here. So another guy to add onto this list. So 3rd guy here, 4th in his class, 3,341 passing yards. That's like 800 more than Blake. 32 touchdowns to 5 picks. And so he is on the level of most of these 4-star guys, if not better than a lot of these 4-star guys here, if I'm being completely honest. Also, I had to scroll back because Derek Hester is right here at 52 with 25 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. So stats aren't everything, but stat-wise, he is in that vein easily. And if you're just keeping in mind as well, like, okay, didn't play full quarters in a lot of these games, was taken out. He had a good team around him, and all that stuff, so he wasn't really let loose. It's like, okay, dude can play, right? He's on the level of a lot of these guys. I'm sure does say he played more games, but you got to keep in mind, like, okay, like how many full games did he actually play?
Well, and more games, as in leading his team to state.
That
so,
too.
Like,
no, but I don't know if any of these guys let their team to state. I'm not going to make that a definitive thing. I'd have to double check though, to be honest with you. Yeah. But Cody, what do you think about that before we hop into his film here?
I would like to clarify before we hop into his film, just because he's on the same level as these 4-star guys doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to give him a 4-star rating. We're just saying that maybe they're not as properly rated as well. And that Colorado continues to be disrespected.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah, I showed this because I just wanted to make sure and show that Colorado is disrespected. You could be as close as you want to some of these guys who don't deserve to be here. Some of these guys didn't even, they're not even in the top 50 for passing. Isaac Wilson, he's only on here because of his brother, So that just shows how accurate rankings are and whatnot. Obviously, when we do film breakdowns, we're looking at your film, and we've seen you play before, and so we're breaking down your game. And so, if you want to talk about, accuracy of rankings there, well, you literally see the rubric we're working with. I know there are a couple tweets out there about that, but, so stick to your guns there, and we'll stick to ours. So anyways, here we go. 2024 quarterback, 6'2", 205, out of Erie High School, the state runner-up here.
I think he's 210 now.
He is definitely not 205. He's probably heavier.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit.
Well, I just meant in general. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm so excited. All right.
State.
This is not a... I mean, it's a good 50-50 ball. Great catch by Aiden Oxiger, more so there.
It's good recognition that it was 1-1.
Hey,
Ooh.
Way to look right and then come back over the middle. Look at that velocity on that throw.
Good throw there. Oh, easy.
Look how effortless
easy
this arm is. It's still... Oh, my
It's
Lord,
easy,
dude.
man.
All right. Kind of a weird shuffle there, but dot.
Yeah. Good timing, though, on the throw.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He's wide open. The receiver, I felt like, was maybe not running the right route because he started, doing that weird backpedal thing.
Yeah. Oh
my God. He's just letting it go. Good job sensing the pressure. Ooh, throw on the run.
Oh, my gosh. Holmes type throw, bro.
I like it, Picasso. Good timing there on the curl.
Yep. Kind of scoots to the left a little bit. Nice throw.
Way to wait on that.
And the wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, that was accurate, too.
I like the way that he's using his eyes here.
There's a little jump when he's throwing on the run. It's not... I mean, there's no real, right way to throw on the run, but it's just interesting.
It's something.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay, throws his shoulders on the screen and gets the defense to bite on it.
Underthrow.
Throws that just a little bit, yeah.
That's okay.
Back to state here.
Oh, you missed the block there. I could throw on that route.
Great throw.
Yeah, but lineman definitely missed the block.
Oh. Puts it in a place where only his receiver can make a play on.
Yeah, maybe not the best decision,
maybe not the
though.
right read, yeah, but...
So that receiver went the wrong way. Even though, I don't know if you saw that, but on that play, Blake was trying to throw him to the outside, and he went back inside instead, which I don't know why he did that.
This Brighton throw is nice.
Yeah.
They did have some really long third downs in this game. This was clutch.
Arm accuracy and power. That's just arm talent. Nice job. Easy.
He was almost too wide open for Blake.
Mm-hmm.
You see that double clutch there?
Ooh. Yep.
Something to know.
Low snap.
Do we finally get to see him run? Thank you.
Oh my God, he's out of there.
Later.
And he slows up at the end too. 4th and 4 in the 4th. Triple fours.
So many sacks.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
Line this game.
Hey, tuck that ball though. that's all I gotta say. Great. I mean, he's just a elite athlete, but you know.
This was the 2-point conversion.
Nice.
For the freaking win.
That's high.
Oh my Lord. Oh, hey, are you ready for 3 touchdowns against this vaunted Palmer Ridge defense? As he just weaves in and out of there. Oh, my Lord. They're... Blake! You're cheating us!
I feel like there's more. Hold on. Okay, I feel like there's... Here, let's look at his profile here. Well, what game do we want to watch here? You want to look at State first, and then we could go to that Montrose game. State game's about 2 minutes or so.
And I have some insight from this game as well. I was there. I'll go ahead and talk about it while my ad is playing here, and maybe if Simon also has an ad. But in this game, you could see his age and youth kind of on display here. He was trying to do a little too much. In this game, he did have 2 interceptions, and he also had, I want to say, 1 fumble here. So, watch these highlights, enjoy these highlights. The thing that I said in the episode recapping the 4A state championship was Erie was in this game because of Blake Barnett, but they also maybe don't win this game because of Blake Barnett. This happens with some of the best quarterbacks of all time in any conversation, when they're so talented in so many ways. But, maybe they get a little carried away with some beliefs in their throws. Maybe they don't make the right read, trying to force something. And, kudos to this Chatfield team. This Chatfield team was stacked, like literally everywhere. And the fact that they ran a hook and ladder on the final drive and then hit, like a 36-yard game-winning touchdown pass from a quarterback who had, maybe 100 attempts on the year, maybe. Kudos to that Chatfield team. But I did just want to kind of touch on that from the state game from somebody who was there, that, these amazing plays that Blake Barnett was able to make, his ability to run, his ability to move the chains, all of his greats were there, but, some of his areas of improvement were also on display in this game. And, I think that it shows that there's a lot of range for Blake Barnett as a football player based off of what I saw at the state championship game. That being said, let's go ahead and enjoy some highlights.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
All right, so it's Chatfield here. 400 yards of offense. Jeez.
Yeah.
We'll roll out. 7 throw. If he put that a little bit more in front of his receiver, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Just tough.
Look at that. And these Chatfield defenders, they had a lot of all-state guys in this front 7.
Oh, that looked like it was an interception, and then
it
was a touchdown.
Let's put more air on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice throw. Doesn't get phased by the pressure.
Yep, good out route.
We saw this once, but I don't mind seeing it again.
Yep. Way to make a play.
Great awareness.
Yeah.
He is a playmaker through and through.
Oh, yeah.
Voted most valuable playmaker.
That's
a tough throw to make.
It is. It's good recognition. Go ahead.
Well, it's knowing that Aiden Oxiger's that guy, too.
Yeah.
My gosh, they really were in a lot of 3rd and long situations.
Oh,
that was massive.
Yeah.
They needed that so bad. Just take your little dump off here. That's what I was saying. Just take your little dump off here. Just take your little dump off here.
Wait, is this not 3rd down?
I think it was, but there is plenty of green around him.
Okay.
This is great. Way to just make these guys miss.
Jeez, what
an
athlete.
Yeah, he's insane. Pump fake. We've seen this play before. It's not there.
Good job.
He waits it out and delivers a dot here. See, it's just there's so much range for his highs, and oh my gosh.
Way to protect the ball on the way down.
Yeah.
That's a good job. he's just. I think something that's underrated is that he's a powerful runner too. Like he has moves and all that. Like, is he like a more elusive Kyler Lamar type? No, But I think
But I wouldn't get in his way.
Well, yeah, obviously. Is he Cam Newton either? No, definitely not. I think arguably the best comparison I can make for Blake Barnett in his game is very Jalen Hurts like. Honestly. I see
that.
Their build is basically identical first off. So there you go. And then second, the way they run, I mean Jalen Hurts, he could be elusive and all that too, but he's definitely more of a powerful runner and all that, and so body types are very similar. Some of the things going on with the passing game is very similar as well. And so there's a lot of similarities there. I thought it over a couple of times, and I think Jalen Hurts is as close as a comparison as I could get for now. So yeah.
Are you pulling up Montrose, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's ready. Whenever you are.
Okay, I'll count it down. 3, 2, 1. I could watch this guy's film all day.
Yeah.
Nice throw.
Mm-hmm.
Just over the linebackers.
Oh.
Set. A little bit behind that receiver.
Yeah.
Got to put it out in front of him.
Not the greatest decision.
But
there are a couple other guys he could have went. I don't know what
just
was
keep
going
running.
on there. Yeah.
You see his receivers having to make some athletic. I think that's the 1 yard to get it to 21-28.
Couple of timing issues here for sure. This was on time though.
That was sweet. When he's on, he's so on.
Nice.
Ooh, my lord, what a throw. It's little things like that. I think this is the 10-yard to put him in position.
Come on, man.
What's the camera doing?
God, this guy was like, oh, I don't know football, so I'm going to just keep it in the middle of the field. Clutch. That's probably what happened, to be honest with you. When you have somebody that doesn't know football, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to just go thirds, and that's what I'm going to do because, Great film.
It's only 30 seconds, but I think there's some plays on this Palmer Ridge film that we haven't seen before.
Okay.
Nope, these are all plays that we've seen. Oh wait, nope. There's one play that we didn't see. If you want to pull.
I'm playing it right now. It's low keys.
Okay. You just going for it?
Yeah. It is 8 o'clock. I'm at 15 seconds.
16, 17, or?
Uh-huh.
And counting. Okay. So you saw this throw, this curl route.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that we didn't see, the touchdown to win. Well, this is the one that I got to see. Yeah!
Tough
over
way
the top.
to lose, honestly. But when you just have an athlete, I mean, there's nothing you could do there. Okay. I've seen enough. Let's go ahead and break down his film. Let me put this on loop here. So, a lot of things stayed the same. And then a lot of things changed. I think definitely as a passer, he has improved. No doubt. As an athlete, he's still that dude. You could tell he's gotten faster. He's definitely gotten stronger as well. I think maybe as a freshman, he was a little bit more smoother and whatnot. He's still smooth as well as a sophomore, but I think there's definitely some brute force there as well. Like, if he needs to run a full over, he will. And he might win that battle a good amount of the times, to be honest with you. I'm okay. I think.
You there, Simon?
Yeah, I'm just struggling with some of these grades here. And so this will be interesting for sure. There's definitely some things that you can work on, but also, if there's one thing that stays the same, he is arguably the best athletic quarterback, arguably he's the most athletic quarterback in the state of Colorado right now. Is that fair to say, Cody?
Oh, more than.
What? Wait, what do you mean?
More than fair to say.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I got you.
What?
I didn't know what you were saying. I didn't know if you were saying, he's at least top tier or whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty. Let me do one more look through here, but I think I'm pretty good on where I'm at with a lot of this stuff.
No, I liked that where that was at.
I might even. I'll give him the better. Easy. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Seeing some of the other guys, we do need to do some out of state film here so that we can make sure we continue to keep our perspective here. But
that is true.
I would like to see some other guys.
Wait, what's your final grade? Oh my god!
Oh, our final grade is exactly the same. So let's go ahead and hop into this.
That never happens.
It is. Oh yeah, right.
Down to the decimal. Oh my lord. I'm losing my mind just a little bit. But anyways,
yeah.
Simon, you want to go ahead and kick us off with the 3 big arm categories here for throwing?
Yeah, here, let me restart this reel. Okay, arm power, 9.2. You and me both gave him a 9.2. That's plenty fair. Obviously has a great arm, 4-star type of arm, flick of the wrist. He could even get stronger here. This could go past 9.5 potentially by the end of his senior year if he continues to develop. If he doesn't, it's fine. Whatever, he still has a 4-star arm. Probably an NFL type of arm power here, to be honest with you. So I'm pretty confident with this 9.2. Yeah, there you go. Arm accuracy, I think we're kind of on the same vibe here. I gave him an 8. You gave him a 7.3. Here, then let me talk about timing real quick as well. I might as well say that. I gave him a 6.5. You gave him a 6.7. Look, I think there are times where he flashes that he could be extremely pinpoint accurate with some of these throws, especially on these short routes here. Like he could done it into tough spots. That's where a lot of that arm accuracy rating is coming from. Personally, for me, I see a lot of that. I like it. Even some of these medium throws as well. So there you go. Timing though, I would say it's about average, or maybe a little above average. At a 6.5, Cody, you gave him a 6.7. Timing just needs to get better. I mean, when you see it on the film here, it's like there are times he's on time, there are times he's not on time. He possesses the ability to throw on time. There are some guys who don't throw on time at all. So just keep that in mind. But so he can do it, but he's just so inconsistent here. I feel like I am giving him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, giving him a 6.5. This could definitely be lower here, but it needs to be improved. And even watching him in 7s, I know it's against the Ducks, and usually they play good defense. They gave TFG some trouble here and there as well. And so it's not like the Ducks are a bad defensive squad. But my God, there are definitely times where his timing was just not there. Like, he's throwing behind a lot, Arguably, and I'm not trying to lean too much on the 7-on-7 film because anybody could have a bad day, and so I'm just going to keep that in mind, as well as anybody could have a good day. But there are definitely times where I was just like, nope, this timing is not it. And it needs to get better. I don't know if it's chemistry or maybe he just has a weird internal clock going on there and all that, but his timing just needs to be more consistent, and that affects his accuracy as well. Cody, what do you think about all of what I just said there?
Yes, I know that arm power, it's easily his best trait as a passer. He can make any throw on the field. He really can. As far as placement and where it needs to go. However, timing is where he struggles. Look, I give him a 6.7 because there are just some throws where they're jaw-dropping. He has some, throws that are throw of the year candidates, but he also has some throws, a pretty decent handful that end up behind. And I think that part of that may just be that he's a little too comfortable with that receiving crew. I mean, look, he was surrounded by a lot of great receivers. see, I think that like 6 of his top 7 receivers were seniors. So guys who'd been around. You have Nicholas here who caught 8 touchdowns on the season. So when you have receivers who can catch behind you, which, oh my goodness, Erie freaking receiver you over here. I love to see all this. But, a lot of quarterbacks we talk about leave the film in of your receivers, dropping the pass because that helps you. Blake Barnett here, the fact that your receivers are really good are helping out your score a little bit. Not even going to lie. There are times where he is super on the money. 4-star level on the money. But the inconsistency is what's holding him back here. There's really no reason that he shouldn't be able to have all of his throws be on time, especially over the course of an entire season.
Yes.
He has a pretty solid pocket a lot of the time. He had John Pastor blocking that blind side for him, who is a Kansas State commit, I want to say, and somebody who Mason broke down. So, this line is good. They produced over 3,000 rushing yards as well. They open up lanes for him, and they give him time to make plays. It's not like he's, fighting for his life on every play. So there's not – it's really just getting better. It's just getting better. And throwing with these guys more and understanding maybe what the defense is doing a little bit better might help with timing or something like that. I'm not exactly sure wherein lies the problem, but there's a lot of plays that I think are kind of left on the field or are stopped short of where they could end.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Do you want to talk about the next couple categories here?
Yeah, I think that mechanics / fluidity and decision-making skills kind of go hand in hand. Look, I don't really have a problem with his mechanics. He does a great job of, setting his feet when he does throw. I think that he's pretty good at it. Once again, I think it's just a consistency thing. Sometimes he sets his feet. Sometimes he throw jumps, and maybe he doesn't need to. I feel like his feet can get kind of flat, too. And, maybe his base being a little inconsistent can lead to some of these accuracy or timing inconsistencies. I know that you and I had a different grade on this as well as decision-making, but we'll kind of flip-flop later on here. And, I feel like it's for the same kind of reasons you think. But decision-making skills, I give him a 6.7. He has the ability to go through reads, which is awesome. He has the ability to look off safeties, to have a good pump fake, which is all great. But after watching the state game live, there are some throws where I was like, why are you doing that? Or maybe a running decision where I was like, why would you go there? So I definitely think that watching the state game impacted these scores a lot for me compared to Coach V here. But, Coach, you watched the film, obviously, which is very indicative of his season as well. What were your takeaways from the film to give him your ratings for mechanics and decision-making skills?
Yeah, so mechanics, I gave him an 8.6. Honestly, for the most part, upper body, wise, it's really smooth. I don't have a problem with his release. I don't have a problem with any of that at all. And, his lower body as well, I don't want to say maybe most of the time, but a good amount of the time, I don't have an issue with it either. I'm watching it and I'm like, he definitely has some happy feet, and that affects his base from time to time. But also, he gets his feet, he still plants his base and whatnot, and then releases and throws, or rips it and whatnot. So it's not like his base is so bad that, he can't throw, and it's affecting his accuracy and all of that. I think his base could maybe be a little bit more consistent, his footwork could be a little bit better. Maybe look at some A.J. Jackson film to continue to work on that, because his base is almost always good. But also, that's not, a big deal. It's not affecting any of his throws, really. I think most of the time, it's just timing. You're throwing this late, you're throwing this early, and that affects accuracy. And so, I recognize that. That's why I'm giving him an 8.6 in mechanics and fluidity. I think for the most part, it's pretty smooth. I wouldn't change a lot of this. I wouldn't change his throwing motion or mess around too much with his base even as well. Because even from what I saw in sevens, it looks good. I don't have a problem with it. So there you go. Decision making, I'm definitely a little bit more generous. Gave him a 7.5. I feel look, there are tough decisions that you need to make in the playoffs. And it's not like he got lucky 1 or 2 times. No, he won a tough game against Palmer Ridge. He won a tough game against Montrose. He kept Erie in that game against Chatfield, the defending champs. So I'm looking at all this and I'm like, I mean, if you had bad decision making or, below average decision making, then you wouldn't have been this far in the playoffs. Because eventually it comes back and gets you. Either that or the defense doesn't know what they're doing. And so I'm not going to disrespect the defense like that necessarily because I feel like there are just times where in clutch and high pressure situations, he makes the right play and he makes it happen because of his decision making. Now, it's not higher because he's extremely there's a lot of lows just as much as highs. Like you said, Cody, there are the turnovers, all that stuff, and that matters, and that's why he doesn't have a 3-star rating when it comes to decision making. That's why it's closer to a 2-star or maybe even 1-star at this point, and that's consistency. I mean, we talked about wanting him to get better as a passer and whatnot last year, and so it's not like he's been a naturally good passer just in general. He's working on this stuff, and I acknowledge it. He's putting in the work to get better, and so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. This definitely has a lot of opportunities to go up as he is losing quite a bit of talent this year, and so he's going to have to make better decisions. You can't afford turnovers in any playoff game. To be honest with you, turnovers that are your fault that you're forcing at least. You just can't do that. That is not, how should I say, a clear path to success, consistent success. So there you go. What was the other one here? Oh, we haven't talked about it yet. Do you have anything else to add before we hop into it?
Well, you brought up a good point about the playoff multiplier. Also, if you play the Brighton game, it's 9 minutes of highlights.
Okay.
There's 6 touchdown passes. So,
I will do that right now.
If you want to cue that, that'll probably carry us through, and fans will be able to see something a little different. But Simon, are you trying to make our grades different? You just made a good case.
You can change it if you want. I'm not.
Simon, how dare you? How dare you do this to our score? This is all your fault. That's a great point.
Well, let's keep it going.
Anyways,
because we are late here.
Yeah. Go ahead and honestly, you could talk about scramble ability all the way through the pocket stuff.
Okay.
If you want to.
All right. Scramble ability. Both gave him over a 9. I mean, I gave him 9.1. Cody gave him 9.3. He's a 4-star. He's a dual threat, so that's for sure there. Look, he's just an athletic freak. He could get out there, he could run, and he's dangerous, And honestly, the more I watch him run, the more it reminds me of Jalen Hurts and his style. Just a little bit more ground and pound, powerful, but he's a bit shifty and whatnot. Good job there, Caleb. My bad. Sorry, let me get it together. His running back just bumped into him.
When he hit him in the back.
Yeah, on. Oh well.
Yeah, I know exactly which player.
But anyways, the more I watch him, the more it's that's Jalen Hurts basically. That's white Jalen Hurts. So there you go. Ability. I gave it an 8.4. I thought about maybe increasing this one here, but I think the reason why it's more so here than above an 8.5, which I think he can be above an 8.5, is because there are definitely issues accuracy-wise and just consistency-wise as well. There are times he's on the money, there are times where it's good job, you got the ball there, he's able to. But I think this is more of a consistency thing more than anything. That's why I'm giving him an 8.4. So there you go. Here. We'll knock this one out. Frame size, I gave him an 8.8. Cody gave him 8.7. It's basically the same. You want to talk pocket awareness and movement?
Yeah. So real quick, just to touch on the scramble ability, he can make all the runs.
Yes.
Throw on the run ability. I see the validity in the inconsistency. The only reason I gave his throw on the run ability this high of a score, this 9, is because, look, he's not being. Sometimes he's being schemed to make these throws on the run, but a lot of the time it's improv and it's throws that honestly no other quarterback in the state can make on the run. very Keegan Patterson-esque, but I think even a little bit more potential and ability to make some tougher throws. And I think that his decision making a little bit and timing kind of messes with the throw on the run a little bit more. But seeing as how it's like that's for if he's standing still or throwing on the run, I counted that a little bit more in just the overall timing rather than on the throw on the run ability. He just has the ability to make throws that no one else can. So that's why I gave him this flat 9. It can go down, but also I really think it could go up if he can get some other things figured out here. Frame size 6'2", 210. He's a dog. 8.7 there. No concerns. Pocket awareness, pocket movement. I feel like we have the same kind of idea here. I think that he senses pressure very well. I think that you can see that in his scrambling and on his throw on the run ability. I think that he can step up in the pocket. You see him step up on the pocket to run. You see him step up on the pocket to make it throw. And, I also see him kind of move the pocket. He can move it left to right. He can bring it back over the other way. He's a great athlete in that kind of regard. And, there were times, especially in this state championship game, this Chatfield front 7, I cannot say enough good things about it. They were stout, stacked, and strong in a lot of ways against a very good Erie offensive line as well. But, he still found ways to move the pocket, avoid sacks, whether it was by making throws or by tucking and running. And I think that those are things that I consider with the pocket awareness and movement that brought it up to this 8 kind of 3-star level. Simon, what has you at these crazy 7s rather than the crazy
8s? Look, I think it's fine. Like, he senses pressure well enough, so there you go. It's not like he's getting a crazy amount of pressure. I think I just need to see him play live more, to be honest with you. So this is definitely a bit more of a conservative grade here, but I'd like to see him just be a little bit more aware. Next year, I think is going to be the most telling for me when it comes to this grade because he's not going to have a John out there. So we'll see how well he senses pressure and whatnot because it kind of feels like a bit of the time here. He's real patient and all that because he knows his blind side. Most of the time is pretty good. He'll get a good 6 seconds out of that block most of the time. And so that's kind of where I'm at there with awareness. He senses it well enough, but could be better for sure. Movement, he doesn't really climb the pocket a lot. He'll keep his eyes downfield and scramble, but, not as much. Also, he's, letting it go pretty quickly here. That's kind of more of a, what should I say here? That's like a, testament to the talent that's around him, He has playmakers who get open and make it easy for him. He doesn't have to hold on to the ball too much and all that. And so that means he doesn't have to move up in the pocket and buy more time all the time. So yeah. So that's kind of why I'm here. It could definitely be higher, but I think I need to see a little bit more. I need to see how he does next year for this to go higher. But I think this is pretty solid at a 7 personally.
Yeah, no, 7s are good.
So yeah.
They're good. So ultimately, you somewhat swayed my mind here with the decision-making skills. So unfortunately, my excitement at the very beginning of our total grade isn't quite the same. But we both see him as as just scratching the surface as a 3-star quarterback, basically. You with a 80.1 and myself with an 80.5. Making our average score here like 80.3. So
yeah, look, I think he's a 4-star guy right now because you could probably add on an extra star just with his athleticism, his pure athleticism. He has a cannon, he could run. That's enough for an extra star. So more than enough people would give him an extra star for that, to be honest with you. Because in-game situations, 7s and all that, that's great. But in-game situations, you gotta key in on him as a runner. You don't want to give him a free 20, 30 yards because he could extend that to 40 to 50. You know what I'm saying? And even then, when you're in the red zone, he could run it, he could pass it, he could do all that stuff. And so you have to be playing like just very good team defense. Like you can't just have one like a spy quarter or a spy linebacker and be like, hey, make sure he stops the run because it's not just on him. Because if it's up to Blake, he's going to run out. He's going to move that linebacker out of his spot and then throw to where that linebacker used to be. That's something that could definitely happen a lot here and has happened a lot. And then also he's not easy to bring down. He's not like a toothpick or anything like that. He breaks plenty of tackles. And so that gives him second chances, third chances, fourth chances. As a defense, you need to be playing the entire play, to in the red zone to feel comfortable. And so for that, I truly think he's a 4-star guy, most likely. Rating-wise, he's at a 3-star. Raw, I think he's a 3-star talent. And a lot of that is just passing. I mean, it's inconsistent. Like I said, reminds me of Jalen Hurts. Because I think Jalen Hurts was... Here, I should probably look this up. But I believe Jalen Hurts was also a 3-star guy, if I wasn't mistaken. But while I look that up, Cody, is there anything else you want to add on, comment on what I said, talk about where he's at right now and all that stuff?
I mean, look, Blake, if you're listening to this, I'll say this. I feel like this is something that I mentioned last year, is that this may be harsh, but I really think that Blake Barnett could be a generational talent here at the quarterback position out of Colorado. I think that he can make a huge impact on the next level, especially if he can come out and refine a lot of these things. And then 2 years in a row, Colorado produces guys like Braden Dorman and then Blake Barnett who go make impacts and get lots of recruiting and lots of hype on the next level. That's the kind of stuff that we need for Colorado to be taken more seriously as a football state and as a state who can produce quarterbacks. And look, it may seem unfair that it's falling on you as well to follow it up and show that Braden Dorman isn't a one-hit wonder, but that's how the game works. That's how it works, and you're playing for a lot more than yourself. And I mean, you're young, so we want to give you these critiques, give you these pointers, so that you can be great. And I mean, look, making state as a sophomore is awesome. Winning state as a junior or a senior is even better. Look, I think next year, Simon, you talked about this. I've talked about this. We're kind of beating a dead horse here, but next year is going to be a big year for Blake Barnett. Caleb, who ran for 1,795 yards and 27 touchdowns, will be graduated. Leading receiver in yards in Klickna, I want to say is what that is, with 597, graduated. He will have one junior returning who caught for over 500 yards, but then following that, Nichols, graduated. Caleb, once again, graduated. Oxiger, graduated. Francisco, graduated. Ouch. That's a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns that you are losing. So, you're still going to have your one guy in lettuce here, but there's not a lot of guys in your grade who have yet made a massive impact. So you're going to have to adapt with these guys, and if you give them easier passes to catch and show that you can do it with not as senior heavy of a squad, then a lot of these things can improve really, really easily. So far, there's been two very, very good teams here. This offense obviously revolved around your capabilities, as it will for the next few years, but it will be different next year, and your skill set will determine exactly how different that is, especially now that Erie has a target on their back. And now that you have a target on your back, you're going to have to play smarter. They're going to watch a lot more film. People are going to be like, hey, we got Erie this week. This could be a statement win. So just know that nobody looks at you as the 3A school anymore who moved up to 4A. You guys are 4A contenders, and that's going to make the game move a lot faster. It's going to be a lot different. People are going to attack some of these weaknesses that we talked about, so you have to strengthen these areas in order to be a dominant quarterback.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think he will get better. And I'm going to stick with this Jalen Hurts comparison here. I think as a player, his stock is going to go up if he improves as a passer. We know what he could do as a runner. Now, don't stop working out and, working on your explosiveness and your strength and all that. real push that, because at the end of the day, if you need a play, and maybe you're not as confident with your throwing, go run over somebody and go do your thing. Find a way to get it done. That's a decision making thing there, honestly. And so he's usually gonna have his athleticism, but to hit that next level, to potentially be a state championship winning quarterback, passing, you got to be good enough there. So there you go. Also, I looked it up. Jalen Hurts was actually a 4-star guy, 13th in the country. Obviously, he committed to Bama, but also
Barnett way slept on.
Yeah,
that's all I hear.
No, for sure. But Jalen Hurts was probably closer to a 3-star guy. But they're like, he's a quarterback, so we'll give him a high rating. Because some of the other quarterbacks on this list are not good. Like Shea Patterson, out of the league. Jacob Eason, backup. KJ Costello, backup. Malik Henry. Malik Henry.
We talked about this.
Yeah, Felipe Franks, backup. Jared Guarantano, he is the worst decision maker I've ever seen in my life. That's saying something. And then Dwayne Haskins, backup. And so, to be honest, those are the guys that are in front of Jalen Hurts. Oh, Shane Buechele. He's not in the NFL. So, he is probably closer to a 3-star. So I'm sticking to the Jalen Hurts comparison. I think he is right there with Jalen Hurts as far as athleticism goes and all that. Obviously, not right now because Jalen Hurts is in the NFL, but coming out of high school, a lot of similarities, honestly, a lot of similarities. So, he's slept on for now, but look, he's talented. Someone's going to notice. People have already noticed. It's only a matter of time. If he wins state, that opens. If he wins state, he's going to get at least 4 or 5 D1 offers, Power 5 offers like that. I think that will be the thing that causes a lot of teams to pull the trigger on Blake Barnett, ultimately. And look, recruiting isn't everything in football. But, you do want to do a good job and play your game. If the better you play, the better you'll get recruited. And so that's just kind of where I'm at right now. If he wins state, he's going to get a couple offers just like that. And yeah, there you go. So, honestly, I don't really have too much more to add on. These two are great quarterbacks. These two are guys that I think are legit D1 guys right now.
Yeah. Hey, Simon.
Yeah.
Because I like bringing up times that I'm right. Exact quote, preseason preview. If Blake Barnett can average 150 passing yards and 50-plus rushing yards and 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, then I'd be pretty high on them as a contender.
Yes.
Averages of 182 and 74 in passing and rushing respectively, and he averaged 3.64 touchdowns per game this year. Feels good sometimes.
No, that is pretty good. I know I piggybacked on that, and I said if he has an elite performance, he'd go. I don't know if it's 200 passing yards and 100 rushing yards at least, or 300 and 100. 300 and 100 kind of sounds like a lot, but also I think it's what he can do. Okay. Yeah, so that's probably the next level. And stats aren't everything, but you could always be more efficient too,
Yeah.
So.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Here, go ahead and wrap it up. You got it. I don't have anything else to say.
I do want to just agree here that both these quarterbacks I think could be next level quarterbacks fairly easily. Between Zjhonoah and Blake. And I'm very high on both these guys, and look forward to breaking down their junior year film after that season's over, and then look forward to pitting them against each other for top 5 QB spots. Look, Blake, honestly, that number 1 spot, it's yours to lose, is what I should say. So don't be complacent, don't get lazy, keep grinding, get those offers, go ball out on the next level. Put the Box State on the map for real. But anyways, thank you for joining the stream. If you were listening on Twitch, if you weren't, then go ahead and find us on Twitch and follow us so you get notifications when we do go live and things like that. We usually go live on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock. This is kind of a longer one, but these are... we had a state contender quarterback here, so cut us some slack. And, if this episode was running a little bit long on a podcast service, you were probably listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Anchor. This episode could also be found on YouTube if you're looking for our facial reactions to some of these plays, and looking for Coach V's fresh cut as well. Shout out to the guy Denelson up north. But anyways, if you want more content, please make sure that you follow us on all those podcast sites, as we typically post episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Fridays being our women's flag football, our premier primetime spot. Coach V has done a wonderful job doing the game recaps here, and him and I discuss power rankings every week for that. So, stay tuned for more power rankings, and that's always really fun to talk about one week to the next. If you like all that content, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those social medias where we post when we have new episodes, where to find them, and just lots of content like this, as well as TikToks that we post to Instagram. But don't be afraid to just follow us on TikTok, where, we do little clips of players that we do film breakdowns of on our request episodes, on our best of the rest episodes, and everything like that. I went a little off script here from my normal routine, so I could be forgetting something. Do you think I'm forgetting anything, Simon?
Nah, that sounds good enough, to be honest with you. Thank you for rocking with us. Hey, we are going to start rolling out some of these request episodes. We are mostly done with seniors. We have a couple here and there that we're going to get to soon, both in-state and out-of-state. And, and then we're going to start dropping some of these other request episodes soon here. We have a couple middle schoolers that we want to do. We'll figure out something for that. Maybe make a standout watch list thing for this 2026 class. But we're also just trying to figure out where all these players are going to high school as well, as some kids are still undecided. So don't that's probably not coming anytime soon. We're going to focus on a lot of high schoolers here on out. Doesn't mean we won't, do the occasional middle school breakdown, though. So,
that awkward silence to end the episode. I've been one of your co-hosts, Cody Stoffer.
I'm the other one, Coach V. Appreciate y'all. We'll catch you later, PMC fam.